I get all your messages, but the motherfucker get your messages. Then they get my message that you sent.
Oh, wait.
No. When you send me a message, somebody will tell me. I missed out. That's the breakdown.
All right, Jerry?
That's the breakdown.
How you doing, sir?
All right, man.
Those are not orders.
How's it going? Hey, man. I'm in
All right.
He's sharp, I'm telling you, he's sharp.
You heard him say, all right. We was invited over to, I said, think about graduation. And all these kids, and they were just waiting for the board to come in. He said, all right.
Everybody stood up. That's funny. It was funny.
Hey, sounds good. I can see seven twice in a day.
I'm good.
Well, Jerry, somebody look like tell us about it.
I told him, Curtis, he was like, just to It's strange. How you doing?
I don't love it.
You ever travel back to East Texas?
Somebody was telling me today, man, John,
Yeah, that's it. It's about
bought him some grapes. They loaned them to him for a while.
I mean, you still got family there. Everybody's got it. Scout. Pop stuff. Get some jump. Yeah, it's a bad situation. So how long you been here now?
Well, he brought it on.
This is the same thing.
He ain't gonna matter. Ain't gonna matter. Don't have to do the Monday, so I can't handle that. That'll throw me.
The meeting of the Shreveport City Council is now being called to order. We will have our invocation by Bishop Larry Brandon, and we will have Councilman Butcher to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance after.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Don't get nervous. This is my doctoral program, so I'm not going to read a prayer. Let's look to the Lord. Father, I am grateful for the President of the Council and the council members, our mayor and staff. And Father, I thank you for today's meeting and the meeting of the minds, and I ask you to use them, God, to make healthy decisions for our city. For you said if we acknowledge you in all of our ways, you will direct our path. And Father, we ask you to touch the families and bless those POWs, prisoners of wars, that are missing in action. And Lord, we ask you to open opportunities to find them, that they may return to their loved ones. And God, everything we do, it's for your glory. And we say, God bless America, but it's important that America blesses you. It's in Jesus' name we pray. We thank you, Father. Amen.
Amen. Now face the flag and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, justice for all.
Thank you, Bishop Brandon. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilman Bradford. Present. Councilwoman Fuller. Councilman Nicholson.
Present.
Councilman Butcher.
Here.
Councilman Flores.
Here.
Councilman Green.
Here.
And Councilman Bowman.
Here. There a motion to approve the minutes of the administrative conference?
Second.
All right. Been moved by Councilman Green and second by Councilman Butcher to approve the minutes of the last administrative session and council meeting. Please vote. Motion carries with 6, 1 absent. Does any council member have any awards or distinguished guests or recognitions they like at this time?
I do.
Councilman Green?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to recognize Dr. Hicks, who's present today, and also I'd like for Ms. Vera Malone to come up, and she's going to tell us something about hemp oil, and she's with Evolve. So, Ms. Malone, would you come up and state your name and address for the record, and tell us about hemp oil?
Yes, sir. This is the day the Lord has made, and I'm rejoicing, and I'm glad to be here, and I thank the mayor and to the councilmen and councilwomen to be standing before you. I'm going to tell you like this, just like Liz Taylor told her 8th husband. I won't be keeping you very long.
That's right, that's right.
I just thank you for the privilege
State
of
your name and
standing.
address.
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Vera Malone. I live at 6831 Santa Monica Boulevard, Shreveport, Louisiana. And I'm thankful that Pastor Green gave me an opportunity to come and just to share with you briefly. I know after the Farm Bill has passed by our president that there's many things that's out on the market, and what we want to do is to be able to share with you. I'm not an expert, but we do have an expert that's going to be coming to our city on April 23rd of this month at the Union Mission #1 Church. That's an expert. He is the CEO and the president of Evolve Health. He is a philanthropist, and he's a scientist and a formulator. And he can answer all questions if you have any questions about the material that each and every one of you have before you about it, because there's so much that's out on the market that people don't know what they're getting. And so I would like to invite each and every one of you to come out to hear from Mr. Sam Castor on that day. Again, like I said, you have it before you. I won't read anything to you. You can read it if you have questions, named, websites, and everything is on those papers. I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Butcher.
If nobody has anything else, I'd like to recognize Project Celebration, who is here. There's a resolution on today's agenda that I would like to suspend the rules and move up, if that's okay with you, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second to suspend the rules.
I'm sorry, what's the,
It's Project Celebration,
Project
and
Celebration.
what?
It is resolution number
42.
42. It's in reference to Sexual Assault Awareness Month.
I see it. Okay, we good.
If I could ask for Project Celebration, anybody else that would like to come up to I'll let Mark read it first.
Motion carries with 6.
Angel, if you go ahead and just kind of tell us what this is all about, and then we have a proclamation or resolution that the clerk will read,
Sure.
and then I'll present it to you.
Okay. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month across the nation. And we know that every 98 seconds, someone in the universe is assaulted by a perpetrator of violence. So we're here today to recognize Sexual Assault Awareness Month. It's done annually, every year in April, and that's where we let everybody know, the community know, that awareness of this event, as well as how to prevent it and educate them on it, the prevalence of it. So this is some of the team that's here. And we recently got an award from the Louisiana Foundation Against Sexual Assault for the Organization of the Year for the services that we provide for victims of sexual violence in our community. So that speaks volumes of the work that we do. Now, sexual violence is huge. A lot of people think of rape only, but it's sodomy, incest, intimate partner violence. It's human trafficking. It falls under the umbrella of sexual assault. So we see a lot of people who are coming out of the lifestyle as well. So we work closely with Purchased, the juvenile, what is it called? With Lori McGee and them over there at the other juvenile detention, I don't know. We just do a lot of work to keep our community safe. And we know this, I want y'all to know this, 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys will be assaulted before their 18th birthday. So we serve a lot of people. We have first responders standing here with us. We serve 7 parishes. We're going to all of the hospitals to help people who have been violated. So thank you for having us here today. Thank you for recognizing us for the work that we do.
So y'all are pretty much, anytime there's a sexual assault in 7 parishes,
7 parishes.
y'all are the ones that are going to be there for
We're the
somebody
ones
to
that
help
go
them.
out on the calls.
24
hours.
I think that in Caddo Parish and Shreveport, it doesn't take much. You read the news and you see what's going on. I've heard that we're like one of the #1 in human trafficking, which leads to prostitution, which leads to abuse. So I commend everything y'all are doing, and this month is very important. I've got a teal pin on. Y'all got teal shirts.
Yay.
So anyway, I'm gonna let the clerk read the resolution. I'm gonna come down and bring it to you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for coming.
Thank you for having us.
It's a resolution proclaiming April 2019 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month in the city of Shreveport by Councilman Grayson Butcher. Whereas Sexual Assault Awareness Month calls attention to the fact that sexual violence is widespread and impacts every community member of Shreveport-Bossier City, and whereas rape, sexual assault, and sexual harassment impact our community, and statistics show 1 in 5 women and 1 in 71 men will be raped at some point in their lives. And whereas child sexual abuse prevention must be a priority to confront the reality that 1 in 5 girls and 1 in 20 boys will experience a sexual assault before age 18. And whereas on college campuses, 1 in 5 women and 1 in 16 men are sexually assaulted during their time in college. And whereas the theme of this year's Sexual Assault Awareness Month campaign is, quote, I ask, end quote, the campaign champions the power of asking for consent, whether it be asking to hold someone's hand, for permission to share personal information with others, or if a partner is interested in sex. Consent is a clear, concrete example of what it takes to end sexual harassment, abuse, and assault. The goal of the campaign is to empower everyone to put consent into practice. I ask is a statement by which individuals will demonstrate that asking for consent is a healthy, normal, and necessary part of everyday interactions. And whereas April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and each day of the year is an opportunity to believe survivors and create change for the future. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Shreveport in due regular and legal session convened that the Shreveport City Council designates and proclaims April 2019 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month in the City of Shreveport. We join Project Celebration and advocates in communities across the country in taking action to prevent sexual violence.
Thank you.
So if y'all want to get some pictures, here's the resolution signed by all the council.
Okay.
If y'all want to get a few pictures, I don't.
Stand here.
Yeah, I guess here.
Are we even?
Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
Councilman Butcher.
Councilman Butcher.
Councilman Butcher, call him back. Let me take your picture this way, too, please.
On this side. Councilman, while they're coming back, if you make the motion to adopt.
We need to vote on it, right?
Yes.
I make a motion to adopt.
A second.
On three, 1, 2.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Get it. You call.
Motion carried with 6. Councilman Nicholson.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to recognize and ask to come forward Donna Curtis, the Executive Director of Shreveport Green, and her Neighborhood Coordinator, Cassandra Calloway.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mayor Perkins, CAO Fields, Chairman Bowman, and fellow city councilmen. Thank you for having me today. I'm excited to be here. I was hoping that we packed the room today with all our volunteers, but I understand they're at work. But I want to let you know about a big event. We have, oh, sorry, are my people here? Are my people here? Would you just stand up if you're here for the Greater American Cleanup, if you don't mind? We have Ozark Society, Southern Hills, who else? Anderson Island.
Cassandra, to your right, to your left.
Caddo Heights is here, so we do have some here. Thank y'all for coming. I know it was hard. Thank you so much. We're just so excited. This Saturday, we have our Great American Cleanup. And to many of you city council members, this is not new. Councilman Fleury, one of our best volunteers. Councilman Bowman,
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Green, Councilman Bradford. Y'all have been in this fight a long time. We thank you. You roll your sleeves up and you're out there picking up trash as well. But I just wanted to give you some information. I gave each one of you a folder, and I hope you have an opportunity to review it, read it when you're bored one night and have nothing to do. But I just want to give you an overview. This is our 29th year holding the Great American Cleanup. And we're excited about picking up trash. Can you tell? But we're excited because this is our city. This is our home. And we feel like the city of Shreveport does a lot to keep our city clean. The citizens, the volunteers, they fill in the gaps. What Public Works cannot do, and they do a lot. What property standards cannot do, and they do a lot. We try to fill in the gap with everyday citizens just like us, you and me. So we have 998 volunteers registered. That's 34 teams. That will be in Moortown, Queensboro, Southern Hills, South Highlands, Broadmoor, Downtown, Lakeside Acres, Sunset Acres, Martin Luther King, Huntington Park, University Park, Highland, Caddo Heights, Hollywood, Cedar Grove, Anderson Island, I said Stony Hill, and Ingleside. That will be hitting the streets this Saturday if it doesn't rain. We're hoping the rain holds off at least for 4 hours. But I just wanted to share with you why we do this. This is our 29th year, as I said, and this is why we hold this cleanup every year. Psychologically, litter is damaging, and litter is beyond plastic and paper. It's tires, sofas, mattresses, TVs. I get the calls all the time from neighborhood associations. Southern Hills would call me. I think they had maybe 50 televisions that somebody just dumped. I was in Cedar Grove. Somebody dumped 45 mattresses. I was in Moortown. There was over 100 tires. We get these calls all the time, and they are going to stay there until citizens like these behind me decide we've had enough. We pull them all together and say, hey, let's hit the streets. Let's do something about it. These are our neighborhoods. And the social theme is clean your block. We find when we give people a reason to do something in their own communities, they come out. I mean, these are people who volunteered with us for over 20 years. I've been here 26 years, and they have been here 20-something years. So they care. They called me the first of the year. What's the date? We want to put it on our calendar. And we love that. It keeps us on our toes. But we do it also because we did a survey back in 2012 of teens, youth, and children and adults. And we asked the same question. How do you feel when you see trash and litter? They said, I feel angry, I feel sad, and I feel hopeless. That was answered over and over again. Litter implies danger. You think about it, if you go to another city and you see trash strewn about the streets, you kind of want to stay from that area. All it takes is one little street to deface an entire neighborhood. And there are good people in these neighborhoods, as evident standing behind me. We also learned that the same neighborhoods that have high litter rates have high crime. The two go together because criminals feel comfortable in an area where there's a lot of blight because they fit right in. Litter is dangerous. You see bulky items on I-49, I-20, mattresses, lumber, scrap metal that falls off the back of a truck. We just finished our Cover Your Load program, and I included a card in your folder that talks about that. There's a law for that. It's illegal to drive around with your load unsecured, uncovered, but it happens every day. Littering creates blight, and it attracts more litter. So we have all these wonderful people who are ready for Saturday. I think I've sent everybody an invitation at least twice. I emailed you. I hope you can come out. From 8:30 till about 11, the volunteers will be out picking up trash. And I want you to come to the fairgrounds to see all of the stuff they collect. Again, it's not just paper waste. It's not just plastic. It's tires. Last year we collected 300 and some tires off the sides of the roads, out of ditches, out of parks. It amazes me that people think that that's the right thing to do. We've got to have some consequences for littering our city. Shreveport is beautiful. We have a natural beauty, but we're marring it with all of this trash and debris. People have told us we've been talking trash a lot of time. Donna and I have been in this fight a lot of times. She's been at Shreveport Green 29, I've been there 26. I remember when we first started, people laughed at us. They said, litter is no big deal. So what is a little piece of paper? So what is a cigarette butt? Here we are 20-some years later, and look at where we are. And I bet they're not laughing now. Now we're trying to figure out a way to get out of this mess. So please, if you could come out this Saturday, just to say thank you to the volunteers. Please, Mayor Perkins, please. If you could just pat them on the back and say, job well done. We appreciate your work. And if you notice all the neighborhoods, we're in all of your districts. So please come out and thank them. And thank you for letting us share that with you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Could I have somebody else? If not, Mayor Perkins, did you have any distinguished guests or recognitions at this time?
I do, Chairman. And I will say, yesterday during work session, I already announced that I will be at the Great American Cleanup on Saturday at the fairground. So you don't have to ask me to come. Yeah. So I want to point out that the International Public Debate Association is hosting their U.S. National Tournament this weekend right here at LSUS. They're expecting nearly 400 participants from 14 states and one individual from the United Kingdom. The tournament hosts are LSUS, Louisiana Tech, and BIPSI. So I just want to welcome them to town and say that LSUS is also poised to finish the season strong. They are currently ranked second in the International Public Debate ranking, and this is the final competition. Tyson Lee, Junior Tyson Lee is ranked number 1 among novices, and they also have a number 1 duo in the team division. So I just want to wish them luck and welcome all the tournament participants to the great city of Shreveport. An added member of our team, I talked about this yesterday to the mayoral executive staff, is our economic development coordinator, Mr. Brandon Fell. In the audience. Mr. Brandon Fell is a graduate of Harvard University. He graduated from Yale Law School, and he formerly worked for the McKinsey Group, which is the top consulting firm for business and in the public sphere as well. So a huge asset to the team, and we're looking forward to what we'll be doing with the economic development vision that my administration has for the city of Shreveport. On a sadder note, two losses that the city has suffered. One is Tommy Harley. Mr. Harley worked for the airport for 19 years. He was the mechanic who kept all our motorized equipment running. He was a part of the airport family and will be missed. The other is a partner of the city, Mr. Ralph Ballantyne, founder and owner of Ballantyne Ambulance Ballantyne is a locally owned medical transportation company that has served Shreveport-Bossier for over 40 years. Mr. Ballantyne fought hard on behalf of EMS workers and made sure North Louisiana EMS workers were heard down in Baton Rouge. The city of Shreveport offers our condolences to their family. And for those of you who don't know, the Ballantyne Ambulance Service partners with the city of Shreveport and Shreveport Fire Department, particularly during our Mardi Gras season, and we could not provide the coverage that we provide without that particular service. So it's a big loss for our community. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Councilman Butcher.
I would also like to wish my condolences to Mr. Ralph Ballantyne. I had the honor of working for him while I was in college. It's a wonderful company. It's the third largest ambulance company in the state of Louisiana. And we're lucky to have them here in Shreveport. I know they've partnered up with the Shreveport Fire Department for many, many years. And he has always been an advocate for emergency medicine. He also was a nursing home owner for many, many years. So my condolences to his family. I spoke with one of the family members today, and they said that his services will most likely be either on Friday or Saturday, with visitation either Wednesday night or Thursday night.
Okay. Mr. Chair.
Councilman Green.
Also, I'd like to just send out condolences to Pastor Stan Lewis' family. I believe his gravesite rites will be Thursday at 11 o'clock at the, can't remember where, but it will be Thursday. Also, again, I'd like to recognize Bishop Brandon.
Okay. All right, just wanted to go add my 2 cents onto that from Mayor Perkins and from Councilman Butcher. Mr. Ballantyne was super nice to my mom during her illness, and I just want to say that I really appreciate him. I became to know him during that time and got to know him and the services that he provided, and I really just want to send my condolences to his family on that also.
It's at the Veterans Cemetery.
At the Veterans Cemetery, okay. Mr. Fail, Brandon Fail. Hey, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask, because a couple of council members want to put a face with the name, and if the mayor doesn't mind, I want to just call you down to the front just to say hello. If you can just state your name and the title so everyone will be familiar with you, Mr. Fail.
Sure. I'm Brandon Fail. I am the coordinator for economic development.
Which is something that this city, that we needed, and I appreciate your willingness to serve also,
so,
Mr.
too.
Fail.
Thank you.
I just wanted to welcome you to the city staff, Mr. Fell. I don't think I've had too many conversations with someone who went to Harvard and Yale and worked for McKinsey Company, so you're doing me a favor. Are you a Shreveport native?
I am not. I'm from New York City, but I have lived here almost 5 years now, and I have a farm here and a local business also. I own a restaurant called The Levee.
Oh,
which you also come by also.
Very good. Well, I'll take you about that offer.
Thank you.
I appreciate you being here. Excited to have someone of your caliber on city staff. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm excited about it. I think there's a lot of opportunity.
All right, thank you, Councilman Brown.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I also want to express my welcome. How do you view where we are? You've been here 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see as our potential, and what areas do you see you're going to be first looking at to help bring economic development into the city?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I thank you for it. I think Shreveport has tremendous potential, and I moved here in part because my partner and I believe the city has a ton of potential. We moved here because an empty piece of land here can accommodate rainfall and sunshine, and we were able to turn grassland into food, and we were able to turn food into a restaurant and create 5 jobs. And I think a lot of others can have similar experiences. I don't think that the primary driver of our economic growth will be experiences like mine. I think that we have a lot of strong starting points. I think industries like manufacturing and logistics would fit well here, and we have a sort of a running start with companies like Bentler Steel moving here in the past couple of years, and I think you can see that there's momentum to further develop those kind of industries that create, well-paying jobs in the kind of like well-paying jobs in places like the industrial parks where there's tons of capacity around the city. And then I think there's areas like software development where the state has an extremely attractive tax incentive, and healthcare and kind of related life sciences where the city's already off to a good start and exports already a great deal of healthcare services to the surrounding communities we could build on. I'm also interested in finding ways we can further develop and make more attractive our downtown. I think there's a heck of a lot we can do, and I look forward to hearing what you all think on this question. I bet you all have a lot of opinions, and I would really welcome the chance to get to know them and to work together.
We're not confirming you, so I don't have to grill you, but I will ask you this.
Sure.
And I want you to be sensitive to what I'm going to say. Shreveport demographics population is around 58% African American. 56% of Shreveport, all citizens of Shreveport, or is 56% on or below the poverty level. On or below the poverty level. Mm-hmm. When you look at economic development, very few African Americans are participating in that endeavor. To be a progressive city, we cannot allow 56% of our citizens to be on or below the poverty level. We cannot ignore the reality that if we're going to create jobs, especially for African Americans who make up 58% of the city, but the unemployment rate is twice as high as the national average, economic development and encouraging economic development, and I'm not trying to create a separation because somebody once said, a rising tide lifts all boats. But there has to be special attention and emphasis placed upon how do we infuse and bring the African American community of Shreveport within to the mainstream development of Shreveport. That's an important component, I think, for us to become more progressive and out of this quagmire of poverty.
Yeah, let me say I agree strongly, and I appreciate your calling that out explicitly, and I will do the same. Over and over, and if I don't, please help me and hold me to it. In a previous role that I held, I ran a nonprofit, a nationwide nonprofit that we put on sort of these recruiting fair and life-changing sort of weekend personal development conferences for LGBT college kids, and we helped kids get great jobs at top 130 companies around the country. The large banks, the consulting firms, the tech companies like Google, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America. And when I came in, I looked at the numbers of the past few years, and what I saw was that we were helping a bunch of young white men get jobs, and I made it my role to aggressively diversify, and we succeeded very strongly at diversifying the crowd that we were able to recruit. And as I learned, great companies are at every level of pay are extremely highly interested and have an interest in ensuring that their own workforces reflect the communities that they operate in. And I learned to be very comfortable talking about that head on and addressing it explicitly. It's not something I'm uncomfortable about, and I look forward to addressing that in this city. This is not. I hear what you're saying, and I agree.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. Councilman Green.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I don't know who they with, but we have an unusual amount of young people with us today, and I'd just like for them to stand, and let's just give them a great big hand. And if somebody can identify who they are with, we just want to congratulate them for being here. All of the young people that's present, would you all stand? So do you all have a spokesperson with you? Would you come up to the mic and tell us who you got? You all come on up. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, you want to take a picture?
I sure will. I just want them all to get up here and
You know, I'm
designated photographer.
I'm very photogenic,
Good afternoon. My name is Kaylee Power, and I am a student leader in Speak Squad. Speak Squad is the Shreveport chapter of an expanding global nonprofit called the Institute for Cultural Communicators. We empower dedicated parents, teachers, and students to become extraordinary leaders. The The first step on the road to extraordinary is communication. Every influential leader must be able to think critically and to communicate effectively. We practice these and other soft skills in weekly meetings and periodic forensics tournaments. In fact, that's why we are here. This Saturday, April 13th, students will come from chapters all over Louisiana and Texas to participate in one of these tournaments. We invite all of you to volunteer 2 hours of your time to evaluate one of our roundtable discussion or speech rounds. We would love feedback from men and women like you who are influential leaders right now in our community. We do have flyers for you with more information, and we would like to see you all there on Saturday. Thank you so much for your time.
Would y'all just hold up just a minute? I'd like to come down and take pictures.
I figured you did.
Take the mayor with you. Take the mayor with you.
Yeah, let's go. Let's do it. Speak Squad, like that. And what time is that? What time did she say? What time is that? Saturday?
You got the flyer?
You can
It's
give.
all on the flyer right here.
Okay, you can get a flyer to her after the picture if you like.
No.
Councilman Bradford is the picture taker. I didn't want her to get a bad picture and blame it on me. So,
That's right, because I evaluate and critique those pictures.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, can I make some quick comments to the group?
yes, sir.
Y'all are sitting. It's okay. I just want to, every time I go across our city and I speak to young people, I always lead the talk by telling them that they are the future of the city. And, I mean that quite literally. Like, you all will be future city council members and mayors and doctors and engineers and you name it throughout our city. And to see how proactive you are to come to a city council meeting and you're already working on soft skills that will be critical in the future. I think the city is in great hands. So please continue doing what you're doing. And I hope that I can make it out on Saturday as well to judge around. But I will ask for you all to give us a scorecard today on how we do with our speaking up here on the podium. Thank you for coming out.
It slipped my mind on the actual speaker, but she spoke better than I speak when I'm sitting up there. I'm going to have to learn some stuff from her. So, wow. All right. Mayor Perkins, anyone else? Yeah. I thought someone said that they had 211 here today to speak on something, but I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
we do have a.
They are? Okay.
Yep. Would y'all like to come up to speak? Yep, please do.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Chairman, City Council members, once again, I'll introduce myself, Bruce Wilson, United Way of Northwest Louisiana. Last time I was here, we gave you a copy of the Alice report, and that was referenced just a few minutes ago. And we do know that we've got over 50% of our population that are at risk. Well, one of the things United Way does to help alleviate that risk and make it better is we have a program that's called 211. This program is based on a call and referral kind of system. Ms. Rashida Dawson, who is our Vice President of Financial Stability, is going to outline what it is. And then I also have with me Ms. Louise Dradi. Thank you. Had a moment. And she is our actual resource, 211 resource database person, and she keeps it up to date. This is not an inexpensive program. We are currently funding this program, and it's costing us $80,000 per year to provide it for the citizens of Shreveport. It works out to about 40 cents per citizen, but we're doing it across 10 parishes. We saw this as a real need. It was driven home to me in 2016 when I couldn't get from one side of the state back to Shreveport because I-20 was cut off because of flooding. People were in need. The last thing they needed to be told was get on your computer and see if you can find some resource help. They needed to call somebody, but nobody had the capacity to handle the kind of calls they did. 211 will do that. Ms. Dawson?
Oh, okay. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you to the City Council for allowing us to come back. Mayor Perkins, thank you very much for acknowledging us. The last time that we came, we talked about the Alice report, and also Councilman Fleury made the comment if we can come back and do a 211 report, and I told him with the permission of our CEO President and Louise Dradi. So I'm very happy that they're able to be here. But of course, she's definitely going to answer some more of your questions if you have any. As far as what 211 is, we have heard from Shreveport Green today, also Project Celebration and everything that they're doing. Think about 211 with the stories that they just expressed to you all about if someone basically was in a distressful situation, as far as with domestic violence, think about how they don't want to have to call and try to figure out what number that they need to call. They can't look up and see, oh my goodness, can I contact Project Celebration, because they might not know about that resource. However, with 211, you can. Also, with volunteer opportunities like the Great American Cleanup, yes, I'll be there on this weekend as well with our group, but those are volunteer opportunities that they can also utilize. But 211 is just a very easy number that people can remember for their resources. And this can be more than just resources that I just spoke about, but also food assistance, housing, utilities, and then also disaster services, because we've realized over the past few years we've had some pretty major disasters in our area, and a lot of people did not know where to go to get those needs. So 211 is also open 365 days a year, every day, 24 hours a day, and you can always contact that number. So what are the data collection metrics that we want to be able to collect from those who actually contact 211? We want to know what parish they're in as far as their zip code, the call types, the contact method, and then also their gender, if they're homeless, veterans, and also their age range, which is very important for us to know. When it comes to our overall parishes, and 211, as far as United Way, we cover 10 parishes. 211 is currently, I believe, in 8 parishes, correct? Yes. And then also, so since February of 2019, we actually started 211 back in November of 2017, November 15th to be exact, because that's my birthday. And then also we did our full-blown launch in February of 2018. But since that time, we've been able to answer 9,946 calls throughout our 8-parish region. As far as Caddo Parish, that's about 55% of those calls were made in Caddo Parish. And also when it comes to Shreveport, we want to think about 5,506 calls around that area, was just here. And as an estimate, since basically Shreveport is one of the biggest cities inside of our parish, about 4,200 calls were basically made. The top 3 needs of why people actually contact 211 are actually utility assistance with 37%, housing with 21%, and then also food and meals with 12%. There are some new features to 211, thank goodness. Everybody has a cell phone, and everybody also has this cute little cell phone, a rack card that's probably in front of your face. One of the new things that we can do now is text messaging, because what if someone wants to be quiet but they don't want to call a phone number, they want to be discreet? They can actually text 211. They can text 898-211. The person is going to be prompted to enter their zip code so they can be contacted to the resources that are nearest to them, and they can connect to a live operator and be able to explain what their needs are and where the resources that are located. There are other ways to connect to 211, but definitely you can do call, you can text, and then also you can visit our website at unitedwaynwla.org/211, and then you're going to see that cute little logo right there that says click here to visit the services directory, and they can actually put in keywords on actually what they need. Does anyone have any questions for our team when it comes to 211?
Councilman Fleury.
Ms. Dalton, Mr. Wilson, and I want to acknowledge how grateful I am that you have established this 211 program. In 2015, when I became a councilman, I was fresh in the job, eager to help folks, and it got where the water bills, I could just pay so many. Living on retirement myself with my wife, and she pretty much told me, said, you done maxed out what you can do. And then I went to churches and individuals and trying to help people who were the water cut off and no water, children at home, grandchildren at home. And my heart just absolutely was in sadness. And for you to establish, I've already have been able to help a homeless lady on a walker by giving the 211 call to her. So I am so thankful that you had this vision to help establish this program, that we can help people who are hurting and are in need. So I just want you to know how much I appreciate it. Thank you.
You can thank Lou. She inputs all of those data resources.
Thank you, Councilman Bell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me also express my appreciation for you guys coming down. Another presentation of information that is so valuable to our lives and what our citizens can use to help better their lives. As you can see, I reference the Alice report frequently because I am very sensitive to the fact that if we don't address that and address it fully, it's only going to get worse. I always use the analogy that if we can't talk about our problems, then we're part of the problem. You're providing resources time and time again. The 211 process and program and resource is invaluable, and the fact that those numbers that you have just displayed it shows the need, and as people become more familiar with the program, more will be coming. But the key is that you are providing assistance to help people live a better quality of life. Thank you for that. If we can assist you in any way, just let us know collectively, okay? Thank you again for your service.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think that's it. I appreciate you all and what you have offered to our city, so I just want to say thank you again. Mr. Bradford normally covers everything, and he did that quickly and eloquently, so I just piggyback on what he said, so thank you.
Thank you.
I think is Mr. Green here? Anyone have any questions relative to property standards for Mr. Green? I got a few, but I know you have to.
I got it.
Okay, all right. So that's all I had. And hopefully we can talk tomorrow or the next day about it. It's fine with me. Thank you.
Let me ask you: are you familiar with the proposed grassroots walk that's going to be coming up on the 16th?
Yes.
Is that a part of? Are you participating in what capacity?
Yes. I'll be out there.
I mean, will property standards be a part of the equation?
As far as the grassroots walk itself?
In addressing some of the plight that you may run across?
Well, I can. I mean, it's not a problem. But I was just participating in the walk itself, I guess.
Okay. But if you notice something, you would not go ignore it.
Right, right.
Okay.
We're working in your area right now.
Okay. Did you have a chance to go back up on the end of Sydney Street like I proposed at the last meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Because I hadn't been back over there, but thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. That's it. Thank you, Mr. Green. Did we get my email was down, so I don't know if we got something from Ms. Jones or not. Did you get a revenue? You sent that?
I did Friday.
Okay. All right.
If you
And
didn't get it, however, let me know.
I checked his email, so I did. And Ms. Creel should have emailed those bond forfeitures, right? Yes, ma'am. All right. There's a
we don't have anything to report. There's nothing.
Okay. Okay. There's one item, am I correct, Mr. Thompson, to be added?
To be added?
Yes, sir.
Yes, that's one item. It's Resolution 53. It's a resolution whereby the mayor is making recommendation to the city council for its approval regarding the amount and type of various insurance premiums and to authorize the mayor to execute payment to the agent of record for the purpose of binding insurance and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. And on your agenda, there's also an Exhibit 8.
Okay.
You need a motion on that?
So wait a minute. I don't see it. Is it on yours?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. You might need to refresh.
Yeah.
Oh, refresh.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to speak briefly on the motion to add this to the agenda.
Okay. I was asking, was anyone present that would like to speak in favor or against this being added? Is there anyone present that would like to speak for or against this being added to the agenda? Okay. Councilman Nicholson.
Mr. Chairman, we received this recommendation this afternoon at 2:45 p.m. I don't have any reason to doubt that everything is in order, but I have had some discussions with internal audit staff, and I would like to give them the opportunity to confer with Ms. Jones before we take action on this resolution. My suggestion is that they have that meeting this week, and that if necessary, the council hold a brief special meeting. That would be preferable, in my view, to approving this today or adding to the agenda. I note the exhibit we received includes the types of coverages and premium for many categories of coverage. Doesn't indicate the amount of coverage, and I just would like to have that before the council before we take action on this.
Mr. Chairman, I think what Councilman Nicholson said is almost going to require us to delay. Mayor, I don't know that the urgency of this, because to add it to the agenda, I think we have to have majority. Unanimous. It has been unanimous of the 6 of us for it to be added. So if either one of us don't vote, then it's going to be not added anyway. But I'm asking I didn't review it prior to coming here, and I'm asking what's the urgency of this legislation?
Councilman Bradford, I'll address that. If we are able to get a special meeting scheduled as soon as possible, that would be helpful. And just because we would like to go ahead and have these invoices paid, the city's insurance, was renewed on the 17th, and we would like to go ahead and make sure that they're bound going forward.
Okay, the 17th is when?
That's when the insurances were renewed, was on March the 17th.
Okay.
And the invoices came to us after then. We'd like to go ahead and get them paid as soon as possible.
Okay, this is for
so
the payment of those.
So if we can have a meeting soon
of that work.
to take care of that, that would be helpful.
Okay. So this is basically, we need to do this as soon as possible, but it don't have to be done today. So you're suggesting that we would, Councilman Nicholson's suggestion of internal auditor reviewing it, the council get more information, and we have a special meeting before our next meeting to approve it? Is that what I'm hearing? That's not what I'm hearing?
Councilman Bradford, yes, sir, that's my suggestion, and I understand that internal audit staff is prepared to have a conference with the chief administrative officer as early as tomorrow if our schedule allows. I don't think our special meeting will be long. I think we are going to have to approve the insurance as purchased by the mayor at this point to ensure we have continuous coverage, but before we do that, I want to make sure that we have the information that the ordinance we all passed requires.
Okay, I understand. Okay, I think that's fair.
So is there a motion?
So
I need to know if Ms. Jones' schedule would allow her to do that.
I will make it work.
So have there been an official Motion and second?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, no motion?
No, sir.
Okay.
So, do we even need to add this since it's going to be a?
Well, you can add it or not. The chairman, the mayor, or any 4 members of the council can call a special meeting, and we can have this as an agenda item at that time. So it can either be on this agenda and a special meeting agenda, or just this one. Or just a special meeting agenda.
Special meeting agenda is fine for me. That's okay with special meeting agenda is fine. We have the following request to speak.
Mr. Craig Lee.
Craig Lee, 1112 Prospect Street. Just want to ask a few questions as it relates to proposed ordinance 47 regarding the controls over streets and drainage work and contracts. It has been my observation going through various African American communities that work is being repeated on multiple times. I give you the example of Missouri Avenue, right by Queensboro Elementary School. Work has happened in that particular area on multiple occasions on the same thing. And what we're seeing is in African American communities, as it relates to all of the water, sewer work that's going on, we don't see a lot of control, and we see a lot of things stagnant as it relates to work being completed. I was actually approached last week over in the Lakeside area, Councilman Bradford, that some work there has basically been going on for a couple of years and has not, nothing has been completed. So I wanted the body to look at, as it relates to these bond issues that we're about to vote on, making sure that there are controls as it relates to the work and the contract procurement opportunities that are there, because we know that African American firms in Shreveport and Shreveport firms in general are not receiving these contracts. So I wanted you all to definitely discuss that before this is voted on.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Sammy Mears.
Sammy Mears, 1901 Centenary Boulevard, apartment M110, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71101. I believe that this is something that does need to be proclaimed for the month of April, because nobody deserves to be sexually assaulted for the reasons being no means no, it does not mean yes. Nobody should ever be forced against their will if they say no. A lot of times this situation goes on and on just about every single day, and it needs to stop. That's why when it does, the victim needs to make an escape plan at once and get out. It's very important. They don't have to take that stupid abuse. If the abuser is worse, doing what he does to the victim, they need to make time to get the kids and get out right away. The abuser should not be allowed to try to stop them from leaving. If he does, he's adding more trouble than he's worth, and it's not going to be tolerated. No sexual assault should ever happen. The victim has the right to get their kids and get out and to leave at once. The abuser should be locked up for many years to come if they're going to continue doing that. So let's make April Sexual Assault Month and put a stop to all this nonsense.
Thank you, Mr. Mears. Dr. Kenneth Sanders. Dr. Sanders, it's been about 20 years. It's nice to see you again.
How you doing? Do I need to go through the address?
If you'll state your name and address, please.
Kenneth Sanders, 245 Chemin-du-Lac, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71115. So I'm the president of the board of the Haven subdivision, and there's something on your docket today, the ordinance 31 with regards to commercial rezoning of a lot. And I was made aware of some previous meetings, possibly with the MPC and others, that there's been a lot of negative connotations from some people in our neighborhood. Those people do not represent the board, and as a board, we have not had any formal votes on this or discussions about this. Informally, the majority of the board is not in opposition to working with the developer and getting this property developed appropriately for what he has in mind versus whoever buys it has in mind, or even potentially we're talking about buying it ourselves as the subdivision. So there's lots of options on the table. I just want to make it clear that a lot of negativity you guys might have heard was not coming from the board of directors of the Haven.
Hold on one second. Councilman Bucci.
Dr. Sanders, thanks for coming. I wanted to make sure that you had a copy. I met with several residents and the MPC director, Mr. Clark. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. One of the main concerns of the residents that were opposed to this was the lack of a servitude or easement for the sewer system to the neighborhood.
Correct.
We were provided yesterday from Mr. Locke a copy of a recorded easement. The city engineer reviewed that and wanted to make sure that since there's no acceptance by the homeowners association, I'm assuming that y'all accept this as satisfactory.
I can't speak for the entire board right now, but I don't see why that would not be accepted. I've reviewed it myself already. As you probably know, the majority of that sewer line was already under a SWEPCO servitude.
Right.
Only a small portion needed to be donated by Mr. Locke and has been. So our next meeting, which is in a couple of weeks, we'll discuss that, and I think that will be fully accepted by everyone.
Well, take back to the homeowners. I don't know how the vote's going to go, but take back to the homeowners that one thing that I've done as your councilman is we've tried to meet this issue because that was one of the biggest issues. The other was the traffic with 500 and some odd homes in the Haven. That was one of the biggest concerns. I don't know if Mr. Norman's here. I'll probably talk to him whenever we get to this agenda item. But Mr. Norman, the Director of Public Works, has ordered a traffic study for that to try to help alleviate that. So I appreciate you coming, and we'll talk about it in just a little bit more.
I'll definitely take that back to the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Appreciate it.
Councilman Butcher.
Yes, sir.
Councilman Fleury. Sorry.
Did you resolve that document question you had yesterday about one part of that signing?
He's the Homeowners Association president, and that's what I was asking. I don't think that realistically there's an open document out there that donates it to the Haven's property. I don't know if that's a legal question, but would the receiving party need to sign it?
I would have to review the document.
Do you have a copy of this?
No.
We'll talk about it when we get to that point, if that's okay. I'll let Ms. Strand look at it.
Okay, thank you.
I'll give him mine.
Same document?
Yes, sir. The same document.
All right. We have the following executive appointments to be considered today. Dr. Benjamin Foster and Kenneth Morrow for the Shreveport Airport Authority. And for Downtown Development Authority, we have Ms. Candice Baptiste and Mr. Lloyd Brown. Also, for the Assistant Director of Property Standards, we have Mortimer Harris. So,
Mr. Chairman, can we take these individually or according to their departments?
okay.
Now, Councilman, yesterday you proposed something. You said, well,
I'll make a motion to postpone the airport.
For how long, Councilman?
For 2 weeks.
And can you explain the purpose of it again, please? Maybe for the.
My reason is not ordered by the city, but from the airport authority or their chairman. From what I understand, I've gained a little bit more information, Mr. Chairman, has requested a AG's opinion on this, and I just feel like it would be due diligence for us as a council to postpone this for 2 more weeks. I don't think that there are vacancies right now on the Airport Authority Board. So I don't think that 2 weeks is going to hurt. I think that both the candidates that the mayor has proposed are excellent candidates, and I will vote for them. But I want to give it 2 additional weeks. if we don't have this opinion back, I plan to not try to postpone it again. That's what my plan is. So I just wish we could, just due to the fact that these members that are being removed have served our city and have been on this board for quite a while, I want to give them the opportunity to at least have an attorney general's opinion if they disagree with what the mayor's doing. So that's the reason for my motion to postpone.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I assume we have the authority to remove the third member from our
Yes, sir. It should have
list.
been done. Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's just those two, Dr. Benjamin Foster and Kenneth Morrow. So after the 2 weeks, and if the Attorney General states that and his understanding is that this shouldn't be done, or they still should be able to keep their place, then what?
Then I'm not postponing it again. I mean, it's up to the council to vote.
He just has an opinion.
Right, it's just an opinion. I'm not going to say which way I'm going to vote off of that opinion, but it is up to the council at that point to make a vote.
No, what I'm asking is, so we should take value from the Attorney General's opinion, and is that to negate from the city attorney's opinion, or?
No, the whole purpose of this, Chairman, is I feel like that we've had 3 members that have served our community over the last several years in the Airport Authority, regardless of how you feel about the job that they've done. I believe that the mayor has every right, and I've stated this on numerous occasions, to do what he wants to. I personally, if I were the mayor, would not remove them in the middle of their term, but I'm not the mayor. He is. I'm just asking for these public servants that have been serving our community on a volunteer basis to have 2 weeks to satisfy what they feel like. It's not that I disagree with Ms. Creel. It's that they disagree with Ms. Creel. And I just want them to have the opportunity to hear from the Attorney General. If in 2 weeks the Attorney General doesn't have an opinion, then I'm not going to postpone it. If in 2 weeks the Attorney General comes back and says the mayor can't do that, then I'll have to decide to vote, and so will you, and so will everybody else. If he comes back and says everything's great, then we still have the right to vote. But I'm, vote the way that you want to go. My vote will be in 2 weeks, if we don't have anything back from the Attorney General, to vote for these people and confirm them.
Okay. All right, Councilman Flair.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Members of the council, I think it's in order for me to speak now in regards to what's been said about my having a conflict of interest on this. Just so you know, a little background, I served as Justice of the Peace for 12 years in Caddo Parish. I was state officer, state treasurer. I heard over 500 small claims cases. And out of the 12 years, I never had a case overturned by district court. I was supervised, the Justice Peace is supervised and can be removed by the state Supreme Court. And so I bring that about my credibility here. It has been said that I have a conflict because I work for Roseneath Funeral Home, who Margaret Sheehy Cole is the president and treasurer. In speaking at great length with the staff attorney, with the State Board of Ethics, it is declared by him orally to me that I do not have a conflict to vote. The matter is that Roseneath Funeral Home receives no monetary gain from the airport. Margaret Sheehy Cole serves as a serves with no pay. She perhaps, maybe, I haven't been able to confirm, maybe gets special parking place there on board minutes. But that is it from her. And so I plan to vote based on my conversation with the State Board of Ethics staff attorney, and I will be voting today and 2 weeks.
And let me add, Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind. Thank you. And I really felt sort of insulted because an email went out this morning, and I'm sure you got it, accusing even me of having a conflict. And I don't know what create these erroneous opinions, about what constitute a conflict. My understanding has always been that a conflict occurs when there's a personal gain to be afforded within the category of what it is that we are to consider and vote on. There's no personal gain for me, but I don't understand why some people take interest in this and not interest in that when it comes to the mayor. I told you before that I wouldn't do anything intentionally to circumvent the powers of the mayor's office. But I agree with Councilman Butcher in the fact that distinguished citizens of serving, they felt a concern that they didn't feel like they felt like that their term should be served, and I don't think it's unreasonable to afford them the opinion from Attorney General. And like Councilman, whenever there's a vote come up that I don't see myself as being conflicted, I will vote for my constituents sit me here to represent them. When I accuse myself or when I don't vote, I'm disenfranchising my district, and I don't intend to do that. So whoever's sending out emails accusing conflict, they need to get an Attorney General's opinion about what conflict is. So I'm going to support the motion, and hopefully we'll have some information. I'm going to personally inquire from whoever I can, including the Attorney General, to see what he says. But like again, his opinion is just to satisfy the anxiety and the interest of who I would call distinguished citizens who have served diligently. But I would not at all do anything to circumvent or to disempower the mayor from making the decisions that he thinks is right for the city and for these boards and authorities. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. And maybe it's just me, I guess, looking at or listening to that we'll go along with what the Attorney General states rather than what we get from our city attorney office here at the city. So that's the only part that confuses me here. And for that reason alone, I have full faith in the city attorney's office, and nothing to say against no one else or no member of society or whoever. And it seems as if because this person or these certain persons are distinguished members of society, or I understand that they've been great public servants. I just I'm not going to go one way or the other because of who someone may or may not be. So I won't, and I'll probably be by myself, but I will not vote for this.
Mr.
Chair. Councilman Green. Same thing on I have to appreciate Councilman Fleury for stating that he spoke to someone down at the Attorney General's office. And then too, I think City Attorney Creel may have suggested that you should or should not, but I don't know if you spoke to the City Attorney's office or not.
Ethics is who I was talking to.
Okay, Ethics Board. So that's my reasoning for not voting that way. Councilman Green.
You go.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for your comments. I just want to say that this decision has absolutely, it's been said to me a couple of times, that this decision has something to do with the status of these residents. I have no desire to even talk about that because it's not true. I was approached by two constituents that live in my district. They said that they didn't feel like that this was right. My suggestion to them, and I've told them this, I've told them on the phone, I've told them in text, I've told them in emails, that my suggestion is that they need to get, if they want an Attorney General's opinion, then they're going to have to get it themselves, because I'm not going to ask this council to do it unless the mayor or the city attorney wants to. This in no way is saying that I disagree with what the city attorney is saying. I am giving public servants who have served on the board, I've served on the board, it takes a lot of time. I'm giving board members, public servants who have served on the board that live in my district the opportunity to get this opinion for themselves. Now, when that opinion comes back, it's going to be between me, myself, and what the Attorney General and our city attorney, who I do respect, I voted for. If I didn't respect her, I wouldn't have voted for her. And I've also, for the record, I have confirmed every appointment that the mayor has put forth. I've voted for confirmation. This is just something that I feel like I owe people that have served on a board for free, and I put a time limit on it. So it's just become really interesting to me that there's so much, I don't know, upheaval. I mean, we've had articles written about us and accusations. I mean, I'll be honest with you, even if Councilman Bradford got a casket for a high school student that passed away for nothing, how can you say that's a conflict of interest? I mean, I can understand him being upset about that. And I'm glad to see that the person that wrote the article rescinded that. That's a low blow, in my opinion. But I'm just trying to do what I think is right for the city of Shreveport, what I think is right for my constituents. That's why I was elected. I'm only asking for 2 weeks. And this is no disrespect to the mayor. I think I've told you that, Mayor, on the phone. No disrespect to you. No disrespect to Ms. Krill. This is respect to my constituents. Period, comma, the end.
All right.
Thank you.
Councilman Green?
Thank you. I'd just like to say, when you read it says, serve at the pleasure, then it's like in District F, I'm serving at the pleasure of the people of District F. And when it's not a pleasure, then I don't get elected. Councilman Joe Shine, my hero, he beat me every time I ran against him because I was not serving at the pleasure of the people. He served at their pleasure. And I just think if you invite me to your house to eat and we get ready to say grace and I discover that it's not pleasure to eat at your table, then I'm just going to excuse myself. So I don't see why you would want to take your city that you love and your city is so this and so that, and then you want to take your city through a whole lot of going to court and the Attorney General because you served at the pleasure of one mayor. This particular mayor says, okay, we want to go a different way. We're just going in a different direction. No disrespect. I just think that the articles should be reversed and on somebody else and not on these councilmen because we were put here to do a job. And we're serving at the request of the people that voted for us. And Councilman Fleury, I'd just like to really say thank you for going to great depths to find out that you could vote because that's why you here, is to vote. And then when you fail to vote, then people are going to talk about you. But I just think it's at the pleasure. If the Attorney General write anything other than you serve at the pleasure of the mayor, something is wrong with the report because he's not going to get all of the information. So along with Chairman Bowman today, I mean, I respect you wanted to delay it for 2 weeks, but I'm going to be voting not to delay it for 2 weeks. I just think our city is held hostage because somebody's mad because they can't serve on a board, and I think that's very unfair. You've already served. Give somebody else an opportunity to serve at the pleasure of the mayor. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Councilman Nichols?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to reiterate my suggestion, which I made to our colleagues yesterday, that the council address any perceived or actual ambiguity in the charter and the ordinance that is causing us to have this conversation. We have the authority under the charter to specify whether this board and other boards or all boards will have members that serve at the pleasure of the mayor despite the specification of a term of years. And I think we should do that one way or the other promptly. As I said yesterday, I'm undecided about what I think the rule ought to be, but let's come together, make a decision, and have a rule in place at least for the next 4 years so that we don't have to have this conversation again.
Can I have one final, please? and not to prolong it, but again, the process is simple. The mayor recommends who he wants to serve at his pleasure. Certainly, a council would not confirm anybody that the mayor suggests if they didn't think they was qualified. Okay. If the mayor had the pleasure of appointing somebody without them being confirmed, that's the mayor's purview. But the charter gives us responsibility to evaluate the situation. Now, I'm mixing a little bit, but my point is simple this, that if we was to take out the debate about who these individuals are, it would still be our responsibility to confirm people that we feel is qualified to serve in these positions. Now, I said only yesterday that obviously in some boards and commissions and authorities over the years, a lot of people was confirmed just because the mayor wanted them there without evaluating their ability or their qualifications. So we are saying, and we all agreed, that the individual that came before us on yesterday was highly qualified to serve. But if we didn't confirm them, then the board is not liking because the charter says they continue to serve until their replacement is confirmed. So there's no, the ambiguity is not the fact that we are discussing who these people are, and I use the term distinguished citizens, and I would stand by that statement. But our, I think, collective understanding is that we wanted to give them the opportunity to receive the report that they have applied for. And once that has been done, if it's not been done in 2 weeks, we would vote to confirm. I think we all have agreed to that. But to give them an opportunity to hear back from the Attorney General, I think is not unreasonable.
Mr. Chair.
Councilman Green.
Did they send us a request to ask us to do that? Or is it just something that we just heard about?
Councilman Butcher just said that when he was approached, that he said, I am not going to have the council to pass legislation to do it. If you want an Attorney General opinion, you request it, but we will give you an opportunity to receive it back.
At least I will. I didn't speak for the rest of the council. Okay. I had constituents just like we get calls about trash and everything else. They called me. They were upset. They said, I don't feel like that the mayor has the right to do this. I'm not a lawyer. Councilman Nicholson and I discussed it a little bit because they called him as well. We decided it was best to refer it to the city attorney. We referred it to the city attorney. The city attorney came back with her finding, which I think we said both in open meeting 2 weeks ago that we didn't disagree with. Then they went, I said, we are not ordering it takes the council as a whole to order a Attorney General opinion. I was not going to present that to the council because I do have faith in Ms. Krill. Contrary to what's been said or written, I do. The board members themselves went and got the Attorney General's opinion. When they said that, I said, okay, I'm going to wait and hear what the Attorney General has to say. I didn't say, if the Attorney General says no, then I'm voting. I just said, I will give you that privilege because you have served, you have voiced an interest that you don't feel that it's right. So that's what I did. So that's why I asked for a motion to postpone last week. They called me again. The Attorney General's opinion is not in. And I told them again, the people that the mayor has recommended, I think are good people. The mayor and I discussed this last Wednesday or Thursday on the telephone, and I told him if the AG opinion was not in, that I didn't know how I was going to respond. And but I did tell him I thought his candidates were good. After speaking to him yesterday, there's no doubt in my mind they would be good replacements There is needs at the airport. I think I even said that yesterday, that the grass was knee-high 2 weeks ago, and I'm afraid if Mr. Green went out there, we'd have some fines. Mr. Terrence Green, if he went out there, we'd have some fines to the city for property standards. So I'm not, I basically am just giving the airport authority chairman, who is the one, from my understanding, I've not seen anything in writing, so I'm not going to testify to it, that has requested this Attorney General's opinion. I am giving her the opportunity to get that opinion, and then we can review it as a council and decide to vote however we want to vote. So that's where I'm at.
All right. So, I'm sorry, Councilman Fleury?
I don't want to bore you, but look, let's see how we got here real quickly. You remember we sat in a mayor's meeting last time, administration, where we had problems with the airport board, with the bonding, where they had misstated the revenues out there, and we were determining whether somebody should be held accountable for criminal charges. And so the previous administration had put some people on the board out there to try to strengthen up the board, because we were having serious problems at the airport. But I think what we're forgetting here is the airport board is a little bit different than the other boards, and what's going to have to be determined here is, well, by law, some judge is going to have to determine whether the mayor can remove somebody with a fixed term. I think that's going to be the issue. So in 2 weeks, we'll vote, put these people, then the other people can go and seek their remedy through district court. But that's where we're at.
Okay.
And I just want to add, it's not because of fear of lawsuits. It's
I didn't intend.
No, and I know you didn't. What I'm just saying is that's been said before, that it's fear of lawsuits and things like that. The cards are going to fall the way the cards fall in 2 weeks, and I'm just asking for I'm asking for this council to consider and give these 3 board members the courtesy of getting their opinion back. That I did not order, that the mayor did not order, but when it comes back, that'll give them some peace of mind, and they can do whatever they need to do.
That's right.
Okay. I'll give them the courtesy.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. And that's on for, so what's on the table is to
Postpone for 2 weeks.
And that's
Postpone
to
I'll give you
4/23?
courtesy.
I'm sorry?
To 4/23, am I right?
Yeah.
23. All right. And the motion was by Councilman Butcher and second by Councilman Green. If there's no other discussion, please vote. Motion carries 5-1. Next, we have Downtown Development Authority. Ms. Candace Baptiste.
Move for confirmation.
Second.
If there's no other discussion, please vote.
Is this for both or one?
Both, I'd say.
For both Candace and Lloyd. That motion carries with 6. And we have Mr. Mortimer Harris, Assistant Director of Property Standards. It's been moved by Councilman Green and second by Councilman Butcher. If there's no discussion, please vote. That's the last one, I'm sorry. Motion carries with 6, 1 absent.
What happened?
Motion carries with.
Yeah.
Let's try it again. I want to make sure we got them all on, so Nicholson, yours can go through. He's voting yes. That's okay?
I'm trying to vote yes.
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
All right. Mr. Harris? Congratulations to you, sir, and we hope and wish that we can see great things from you. Okay?
We'll need your cell number.
Grayson. There are no items on the consent agenda. Mr. Thompson, let's continue with items to be adopted, please.
We have one, Resolution 41, which authorizes the connection of 9451 Linwood Avenue to the city's water and sewer system.
So moved.
Second.
Which one? Been moved by Councilman Bradford and second by Councilman Green. Motion carries with 5, 1 absent, 1 out of chamber.
Resolution 39 authorizes the mayor to execute a cooperative endeavor agreement between Resolution 36 amends portions of Section 1 of the City Council Rules of Procedure.
Let's move in the public comments to the beginning. I'm sorry.
Yes, Councilman, this is that resolution.
Okay, I move.
Second.
Been moved by Councilman Bradford and second by Councilman Nicholson. And Mr. Nicholson, can you explain to the audience what that actually is, please?
Well, Mr. Chairman, Councilman Bradford has done at least as good a job as I have over the past 2 weeks of advocating for my ordinance. If a member of the public wants to address this body about a matter that is not on the agenda under our current rules, that member of the public has to show up by charter and submit a request to speak by 3 o'clock, and if our meeting goes to 7:30 or 8 p.m., that person has to sit and wait for hours to say what he or she has come to say. The purpose of this change to our rules is to move all the comments to the front so that if a member of the public needs to communicate with this council, he or she can do so without waiting for hours. I think that it would be an improvement to the way we do business in our meetings, and it will bring our practice in line with other public bodies like the school board and the commission.
Real quick, my only concern was for professional, let's say like we have a zoning issue today and there was an attorney being paid for them to have to wait through a bunch, and I just don't know if that's really going to be an issue with the way this is set up.
I think the resolution as written addresses that concern, and I don't anticipate that will be a problem.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Yes, sir. Okay. If there's no other discussion, please vote. Motion carries with 6, 1 absent.
Resolution 39 authorizes the mayor to execute a cooperative endeavor agreement between the City of Shreveport and Planet Aqua Group Foundation relative to affixing permanent storm drain markers on designated storm drains during the Ocean Day event in downtown Shreveport.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Fleury and seconded by Councilman Bradford. Number 39, please vote.
Can we have some discussion about 39 really quick? I just want the city attorney to reiterate why I would possibly not be signing this particular ordinance. Or, sorry, this particular resolution, sorry.
Yes, sir. I've had a conversation with the founder of Planet Aqua Group, also known as the Aquarium, relative to financial obligations with the city. I've informed the mayor that it is my advice that he not sign any cooperative endeavor agreement relative to this resolution unless and until all financial obligations with the city are satisfied with that particular organization. My advice to council was that if the council chose to pass it, that they could, but just know that if there is a possibility that the mayor would not sign the CEA for those reasons.
Fair enough. Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I will say that I'm voting in favor of this resolution with the understanding that the mayor will follow the city attorney's advice and will not execute the cooperative endeavor agreement until the issue the city attorney has just described is resolved.
I agree. I think all of us probably feel the same way. Yes, sir. Okay, so that's fine. And we already
voted.
Yeah. So I mean, it's the route we're going there. But that's understood. Thank you, Ms. Creel and
Yes, sir.
Mayor Perkins.
Resolution 42 has already been adopted. Resolution number 43 recognizes Marvin Jabajaws Williams to dedicate Gloria Drive at Henry Street in honor of Marvin Jabajaws Williams for his commitment and contributions to Moortown and the city of Shreveport.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir. Councilman Green.
What I'd like to do is make a motion that 43, 45, and 46 would be postponed because I didn't inform them that it would be happening today. and we'll do it on the next meeting. So
So you like to postpone which one?
We got to take them one at a time.
we're going to take them one at a time, 43, 45, and 46.
Okay.
And we'll,
Move to postpone. I second.
I'm moving to postpone 43.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Green and second by Councilman Bradford to postpone 43. There's no other discussion, please vote. Motion carries with 6, 1 absent.
Resolution 44 is a resolution in opposition to all proposed legislation that transfers the administration and collection of local sales and use taxes to the Louisiana Department of Revenue.
So moved.
Second that motion.
It's been moved by Councilman Green and second by Councilman Bradford.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Councilman Nichols?
I've received input from a member of the public concerning this resolution, suggesting that we delay adopting it just to make sure that we fully understand what we are doing. And, well, it's a former member of the council who reached out to me and suggested that perhaps this is not something we should do without a little additional thought. So perhaps we could delay this 2 weeks as well.
Well, I'd be happy to make a substitute motion, but I'm trying to understand. We heard the fact that it'll go up and down and back, and it'll delay some revenue coming into the city, into the parish. You wasn't at the
Mayor, speak on
at the
Intergovernmental.
intergovernmental
No,
meeting.
I was not.
Okay, I'm sorry. You had a
I was going to say exactly what you just said. Right now, or at the intergovernmental meeting, we spoke to parish commissioners, we spoke to school board members. All municipal entities, essentially, that we've spoken to in our region are against this. It just creates another step in us collecting our revenue, and we don't know what those guidelines would be as far as the time in which they would have to give them, give the money or allocate the money, and it can just create some burdens. And right now, the system isn't broken. We have a pretty clean system on getting our revenue so that we can pay our bills, and it could create some, unanticipated hiccups in our process. And the transparency of all of that is just not very clear right now in what they propose. So municipals across the state, not just our region, are actually pretty up at arms about this.
Mr. Chair,
Councilman Fleury?
how did this get on here? Who presented this?
This was recommended by the administration.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, we're recommending not to.
Not to,
Yeah, we're recommending
to the
that we-
delegation. There's a
opposition.
bill. That is a bill that has been proposed by a legislature that the all
I say
come to Baton Rouge and then redistribute it to the parishes. But I'm asking you, Councilman Nickerson, even with a total explanation, it would still be that the revenue would go to Baton Rouge, and it won't be timely sent back to award us the opportunity to pay bills.
Okay, Councilman, the input that I received on this resolution in part is that Louisiana is one of the 2 states that does not have a centralized collection of sales and use tax, and there is concern that without a centralized collection point, we will not capture all internet-based sales taxes. That was the specific concern that was conveyed to me.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to go on record of not supporting any of my money going to Baton Rouge.
So do we vote no against, are you saying we vote no, or we vote
No, we
against?
vote. If you want, it says in opposition. So.
Okay.
Well,
Oh, we
Chairman-
in opposition, okay.
Chairman, can I ask Councilman Nicholson, can you elaborate on that a little bit more? I actually have not. I've not heard about this.
I cannot, Mr. Mayor. This is information that was provided to me by not my former colleague, the former colleague of some members of the council, Mr. Corbin. And I know only enough about this to suggest that I'd like to know more before I vote.
Okay.
Is there anything, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry. Mr. Mayor, is there anything that's time pressing on this? Could we postpone it till we get a little more information on it?
The legislature started on Monday.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
So that's the hiccup in us waiting on it. I will say that, I'll let the CAO speak on it, but we haven't had many issues collecting internet taxes to date. Do you want to talk about?
Yeah, that's one of those, and you're right, there has been concern in the past about internet sales, And what we're finding is that those entities are beginning to start to self-report. Charles Madden is here. He has been on the board of the Sales and Use Tax Commission, and I would like for him to come up. He may have some additional information to provide as far as that is concerned, because I understand that, especially the larger retailers, they're starting to self-report, to report to the entities specifically so that they can report those sales taxes.
Yes, it is true. I didn't know we were only one of 2 states, but in Louisiana, people do have to apply in each parish to pay the local sales tax. It is just a little bit of a burden for them to apply in all parishes that they do business. But right now, the big companies who are doing the major part of the internet sales have registered with the local parish and are paying their sale taxes to us.
Do you think this concern about internet sales tax is overstated? I mean, you don't. You think if
I think it can be handled in a way without it going to Baton Rouge.
Okay, thank you. I will not move.
And let me just add in finally, thank you, Mr. Mann. This is not our call, okay? This is a resolution which the other 3 bodies, 2 bodies, the commission and the parish school board, is also sent a resolution asking our delegation not to support this measure. Okay, we're not making a decision of whether our money go to Baton Rouge or not. We are saying to our delegation and to others that the Shreveport City Council is in opposition of this new scenario of sending money, that we don't have the details of how it would be, how it would be forged, and what timeliness will we be receiving our taxes back. Where now the sheriff is very prudent in making that transition.
Sales and Use Tax Commission.
I'm sorry.
I'm just saying the Sales and Use Tax Commission is a very good organization, and they've been providing the income to us on a regular basis, on a timely basis.
Right. I appreciate the discussion. I'm not going to move to postpone. My concerns are satisfied. Thank you.
All right, Councilman Green?
No, I voted.
Okay. All right. Motion carries with 6. One absent.
No, the motion is to adopt the resolution, right? And that's what they're voting.
Motion to, the resolution.
Resolution 45 declares Madeline Street and Roberts.
Move to postpone.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Green and seconded by Councilman Butcher to postpone. Please vote. Motion carries with 6. One absent.
Resolution 46.
Move to postpone.
Second.
The motion by Councilman Green, second by Councilman Bradford to postpone number 46. You probably had my vote today. I don't know what's going to happen in 2 weeks. Motion carries with 6.
We're now in the introduction of resolutions not to be adopted prior to April the 23rd. Resolution 47 authorizes the mayor and/or the police chief to execute a memorandum of agreement between the City of Shreveport Police Department and the Louisiana National Guard for the purpose of setting forth the policies and procedures concerning the management, use, and support of National Guard equipment and its personnel assigned to conduct counter-drug support missions. Resolution 48 authorizes the mayor to execute a permanent utility servitude agreement between the City of Shreveport and Ascension Classical School, hereinafter called owner, and acting herein through John Montgomery, Board President for the Sanitary Sewer Main along Southern Loop. Resolution 49 authorizes the mayor to execute an acceptance of act of donation between the City of Shreveport and Ascension Classical School, hereinafter called owner, and acting herein through John Montgomery for the Sanitary Sewer Main and related facilities along Southern Loop to serve Ascension Classical School. Resolution 50 authorizes the mayor to execute a permanent utility servitude agreement between the City of Shreveport and A.B. Glenn Properties, LLC, hereinafter called owner and acting herein through Robert Alio for the sanitary sewer main along Southern Loop and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. Resolution 51 authorizes the execution of a cooperative endeavor agreement with the FIM Prize Foundation, Inc., and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. And Resolution 52 authorizes a donation of surplus property, specifically motorized vehicles of the Shreveport Police Department, which are not needed for a public purpose, to a political subdivision.
Is there a motion to introduce these resolutions?
In order? Yes. Move for introduction.
Been moved by Councilman Bradford,
Second.
second by Councilman Green. Introduction of ordinances. Which one? Motion carries with 6, one absent.
We're now in the introduction of ordinances. Ordinance 72, it levies and authorizes a collection of a tax of 15 3/100 meals per dollar on all property subject to ad valorem taxation within the city of Shreveport for the year 2019 for the purpose of paying principal and interest on the outstanding general obligation bonds of the city. Ordinance 33 levies and authorizes a collection of various taxes totaling 16 65/100 meals per dollar on all property subject to ad valorem taxation within the city of Shreveport for the year 2019 in the amounts and for the purposes described herein. Ordinance 34 levies and authorizes a collection of tax of 8 64/100 meals per dollar on all property subject to ad valorem taxation within the bounds of the downtown development district of the city as defined by Louisiana Revised Statute 33:2740.38 for the year 2019 in the amounts and for the purposes described herein. Ordinance 35 is a series ordinance pursuant to the general bond ordinance authorizing the issuance of not exceeding $20 million principal amount of taxable water and sewer revenue bonds of the city of Shreveport, state of Louisiana, is provided in a notice of intent given by resolution number 23 of 2018 adopted on March 13, 2018, establishing certain details of such bonds as required by the general bond ordinance, approving and confirming the sale of such bonds to the Clean Water State Revolving Fund, pledging the net revenues of the city combined water and sewer system to secure such bonds, prescribing the form and certain terms and conditions of said bonds, and providing for other matters in connection therewith. Ordinance 36 revises Chapter 34 of the Code of Ordinances in regards to provisions for flood hazard reduction and otherwise providing with respect thereto. Ordinance 37 amends the City of Shreveport, Louisiana 2019 capital improvements budget. Ordinance 38 amends the 2019 Community Development Special Revenue Fund budget. Ordinance number 39 amends the 2019 budget for the general fund. Ordinance 40 amends the City of Shreveport, Louisiana general fund budget. Ordinance 41 amends the 2019 general fund budget of the city. Ordinance 42 amends the 2019 general fund budget. Ordinance 43 adopts the 2019 solid waste enterprise fund budget. Ordinance 44 amends the City of Shreveport's general fund budget. Ordinance 45 amends the 2019 riverfront development fund budget. Ordinance 46 is an annexation ordinance tag number 18-04. It enlarges the limits and boundaries of the City of Shreveport by annexing the Gulf Ridge Commercial Subdivision Development in Section 8, Township 16 North, Range 13 West, Caddo Parish, Louisiana. Ordinance 47 is a series ordinance pursuant to the general bond ordinance authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $100 million of water and sewer revenue bonds, Series 2019B, and water and sewer revenue bonds, Junior Lien Series 2019C, of the City of Shreveport, State of Louisiana, establishing certain details of such bonds as required by the general bond ordinance, approving and confirming the sale of such bonds, pledging the net revenues of the system to secure such bonds, prescribing the form, certain terms, and conditions of said bonds, and providing for other matters in connection therewith. Ordinance 48 authorizes the city to close and restrict vehicle access to Lake Street from Commerce Street to Skyport Center. Ordinance number 49 revises Chapter 2, Article 2, titled City Council of the City of Shreveport, Code of Ordinances relative to the formal creation and codification of this Shreveport City Council Audit and Finance Committee, and to reorganize sections and divisions within Article 2.
So moved.
Been moved by Councilman Green, second by Councilman Butcher.
No vote is necessary.
There's no discussion. Mr. Thompson, let's continue with ordinances on second reading and final passage, please.
Ordinance number 26 will revise Article 4, Division 3A of the Code of Ordinances relative to the duties and responsibilities of the Deputy Chief of Police.
Move to postpone.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Butcher and second by Councilman Green to postpone 26. There's no discussion. Take a vote. Motion carries with 6, 1 absent.
Ordinance 26 will repeal and replace Article 7, Purchases, in Chapter 26, Finance of the Code of Ordinances relative to purchases.
Mr. Chair. So Article 27?
27.
Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Nicholson.
Mr. Chairman, as we discussed yesterday, this ordinance would make 2 distinct changes. One change is that it would require the purchasing agent or her designee to revise the city's purchasing manual. That is a part of the ordinance that I believe will have the support of the full council. The other part of this ordinance would require the city to use a competitive process for the selection of bond counsel and other professionals who assist the city with bond issues. This being my ordinance, of course, I fully support the ordinance in its entirety, but as I indicated yesterday, I'd like to postpone this, and my intention is to amend this ordinance to omit the competitive process portion, which I will introduce at a later time as a separate ordinance. So I move to postpone for 2 weeks.
Second.
That's just to postpone 27
Yes, sir.
as a whole.
As a whole, yes, sir.
And then come back.
Really way to go.
So, Mr. Chairman, my intention is, as I indicated, is to amend Ordinance 27 to omit the portion of the ordinance that would require the use of a competitive process for the selection of bond counsel, because it was apparent from our discussion yesterday that part of the ordinance does not enjoy the support of the majority of the council members present. I would hope that in 2 weeks we could vote on Ordinance 27 as amended to require the housekeeping exercise of updating our purchasing manual. And then at a later date, I will reintroduce the competitive bond selection process requirement as a separate ordinance, and we'll see what the pleasure of the majority of the council is at that time.
Question, Mr. Nicholson. You just described something that appears to me that if you withdraw this ordinance and not postpone it, then you can come back and introduce the fresh ordinances, unrelated.
Well, Councilman Bradford, I think I can accomplish the same end by postponing and amending, as I've indicated, and that's my preference. But I'm subject to the pleasure of the council, as we all are in all things.
Okay. I have a substitute motion to not postpone and I'm not in favor of 27 at all. So my substitute motion.
Your substitute motion is to do what? Withdraw?
Withdraw.
Mr. Chairman, you oppose having our purchasing agent update our purchasing manual to make it consistent? I mean, is that your position?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I think we've had a ruling that only the author can move to withdraw. Any member of the council can move to adopt with the request that the vote be no. But I think that only the author can withdraw.
But that's my...
Can move to withdraw.
That's my request, sir.
If I, as the author, am the only member who can make a motion to withdraw. I am not inclined to move to withdraw. I will move to postpone for 2 weeks for the reasons I've stated previously. That is my motion.
Now second.
You still have a,
You can still vote it down.
Chairman, did you want me to read you the rule? Did you?
you can reread the rule. I know what I want to do, which is,
Oh.
which is yeah. But no, please read it, but I know what I want to do.
So did we have a second on the substitute motion?
No, you had a motion and a second on the original.
I don't have to read it if there's no second on the motion.
Well, I mean, I want to be complete. Again, what we're going to accomplish, can accomplish, I think could be done, but I was hoping that we could just not let this linger and then come back fresh with a new ordinance, or 2 new ordinance. So I'm going to second it just to hear what you're going to say and vote.
Okay, yes, sir. So Section 1.12 of the Council Rules of Procedure on withdrawal of legislation states that a resolution or ordinance may be ordered withdrawn from the files of the City Council on motion of its sponsor or a request of the applicant and with the consent of the City Council.
And so a motion to withdraw not made by me is not in order under that rule.
Right, I understand that. So, my motion, and maybe I said it wrong, my motion is, my amended motion, substitute motion, is to, I agree with the first part. The second part, that's the part I didn't even want to vote on that at all. So, make sure that I'm doing the right thing, City Attorney, and explain to me what my vote needs to be, because I don't agree with this. Can I just vote it down, is what you're saying?
Sure. The motion on the floor is a motion to postpone, and if you don't want to postpone,
No, I don't want to
vote no.
Okay, I got it.
So we're ready to substitute motion to. See what? We do not need a substitute motion to vote no. That would not postpone.
You don't need a substitute motion. If you're not in favor of the motion that's on the floor, and the motion that's on the floor is to postpone, then you just vote no if you're not.
And any other motion, a motion to withdraw is not is out of order.
It's not a proper motion unless it's made by the author.
So there's only one motion on the floor.
That's correct.
And if we vote this down, then you'll have the opportunity to bring whatever else, to bring what you were saying, to have it introduced in the next meeting. Is that mine? Is that?
Yeah, or you can always bring up a resolution.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a mayor once that brought up the same resolution 12 times.
Well, I withdraw. Okay, well, my motion withdrawn, and we'll go along with the motion on the table.
I will say, Mr. Chairman, given that, like all members, I would have the discretion to reintroduce this in 2 weeks if my motion to postpone fails. And I also will note that one of our colleagues is absent, and that this ordinance, taken as a whole, would affect a significant change. I just would prefer to postpone, and I see no purpose in the council voting down my motion and requiring me to reintroduce the ordinance in 2 weeks, but we will see how the vote goes. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Councilman Green.
Even though I want to just start fresh, but out of the courtesy that we obliged, then I will vote to postpone. But I'm not actually for it. But out of the courtesy, I will keep the courtesy and to give my colleague the opportunity to postpone.
Thank you, Councilman.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, previous question. I'm ready to vote.
All right. Please vote to postpone, correct?
Yes.
To postpone.
Motion carries 5-1, one absent.
Ordinance 28 will revise Chapter 105, the wireless telecommunications facilities of the City of Shreveport relative to small wireless facilities and to otherwise provide with respect thereto.
So move.
Second.
Been moved by Councilman Bradford and second by Councilman Green. Please vote. Motion carries with 6.
Ordinance 29 amends the City of Shreveport's 2019 capital improvements budget. This concerns allocating $12 million to the Water and Sewer Field Operations Facility Improvements Project.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Councilman Green, second by Councilman Bradford. If there's no discussion, please vote. Flurry. Motion carries with 6.
Ordinance 30 is a zoning matter, case number C-11-19. It rezones property located on both sides of Corporate Drive, northwest corner of Barton Drive, and Catahoula Road from I-2 Heavy Industrial District to I-1 Light Industrial District.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Bradford, second by Councilman Butcher. Please vote. Motion carries with 6.
Ordinance 31 is zoning case number C-17-19. It rezones property located on the east side of East Kings Highway, approximately 150 feet south of Captain H.M. Shreve Boulevard, from R17 Single Family Residential District to C1 Neighborhood Commercial District.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman
Question, Mr. Chairman.
Butcher and second by Councilman Fleury. Discussion by Councilman Bradford.
Councilman Butcher, I appreciate your early explanation. I received at least 2 calls from your constituents of your district. Yes, sir. And I listened attentively to their concerns. Usually, I like to confer to the councilman of a district when certain legislation is being proposed, because you have to go back to your district and you have to be accountable for what you propose and what you vote for, and I don't. So, be clear to me how do you feel this legislation will or will not affect the Haven?
I feel like that, like I've said before in the past meeting and in the planning session yesterday, that this was always proposed to be commercial. Most of the people that bought in there when this development was started felt like that was going to be an out parcel for something similar to what's going on at 12 Oaks or Providence. I can remember in the literature that was passed out whenever they were developing this neighborhood that there was literature of a small commercial development there. Fast forward now, 12, how many years, 18 years, however. There's 500 and some odd homes in there. It's 90% complete, 80% complete. Things have changed. However, Mr. Locke had no idea that this zoning had been changed due to UDC, nor did any of the residents that live in the Haven have any idea that this had been changed due to UDC. There has been a commercial for sale sign on this property as long as I can remember, and I pass by it on a regular basis. I feel like, and I've told everyone involved in this, and I've met with constituents on numerous occasions. I've spoke to the Homeowners Association president. I've spoke with the developer. I've spoke with people that are against it. The majority of them have had 2 concerns. One was a sewer main that runs across the property. The other was traffic issues. I feel like we've got the sewer main, at least by virtue of the Homeowners Association president, taken care of with the active donation. I've ordered a traffic study with Mr. Norman to address issues that are going on with the Byrd High School baseball field at LSUS. I just don't know what else more we can do. I am never going to be in the business of trying to dictate to somebody what they can do with their property and saying, well, we don't want a commercial development here, but you can put in 12 homes. This was always planned to be commercial. And I just feel like that we need to move forward and go ahead and right the wrong that was done. I will also say this: I met with several people that are opposed to this, along with Mr. Clark. Mr. Clark assured them that any development that would go into this area would be under heavy scrutiny by himself and by the traffic engineering. It would have to meet several different variables.
Right now, Mr. Locke has assured me that it's not under contract to be sold to Family Dollar or Dollar General or anything that the rumors have been said. And, you know, why would, if they don't have the support of the 500 homes, I think that's what makes this property the most valuable. So why would somebody that put a business in there that wouldn't be supported by the local residents? So I ask for your vote to go ahead and right this wrong that UDC seemed to do, and let's move forward. Thank you.
If there's no other discussion, please vote. Motion carries with 6.
Mr. Chairman, those are all of the items on the regular agenda. We have nothing on the table agenda. We have no other appeals today.
Are there any reports from officers, boards, or committee? Seeing none, that would be a proper standard meeting soon. I just need to get the date together, and I'll send that email out. Mr. Thompson, is there a clerk's report?
We have several appointments by the mayor that will be on the agenda next time to confirm. They're with the Human Relations Commission, Felice Williams for a 3-year term, Marquivia Campbell for a 3-year term, and Lonnie McCray for a 3-year term. There's an executive session scheduled for today on today's agenda. Larry Cunningham versus City of Shreveport and Superior Bar and Grill versus City of Shreveport. Those are all of my comments.
Okay. Mayor Perkins, do you have any additional communications at this time?
I have no additional communications at this time.
Okay. Does any council member have any additional communications?
Yes, sir. I do. Chair.
Councilman Bradford, since he pressed the button for me.
But I'll yield to Councilman.
Councilman Green.
You're trying to teach him how to.
You don't press that button.
Councilman Green.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Chief, would you come up, please? Thank you, Chief. Sort of coming up, and I'm in hopes that whatever I say today, that you take it in a form of love and form of concern.
Yes, sir.
Yesterday, I heard a story from a lady who was talking about her son was arrested because of trying to keep a person from driving a car that had been drinking. And she talked about how she was so disturbed that all those police officers came to her house to arrest her son. Mm-hmm. How she didn't want to be ambushed, and how bad it made her feel. And of course, I really felt her pain. You know, I understand. But in the back of my mind, I was like, welcome to America. Welcome to Shreveport. Because on February the 5th, Antonio Wayne Childs was killed. And it was a sad day for me, for the city of Shreveport. And we've heard a lot of things go on as to what happened and how it happened. And on that particular day, I arrived at the scene about 10 minutes after it had happened. A lot of chaos going on. Officers was there. Got out of my car, identified myself, asked to Pastor James Green, City Council of District F, and the officers that were there, I'm sure they were upset or whatever, but they were very rude. And they say to me, "Sir, would you just move back out of the way?" So I was a young officer, so I just assumed, you know, they just didn't understand. So then, by that time, Pastor Edwin Scott called me and said, there's been a shooting in your district. Where are you? I said, I'm over here on Kennedy Avenue, just observing. And he said, I'll be there in a minute. So he came. Then there was a older officer that was coming to go on to the side street, and I walked over to him, some pastor, James Green, city councilman for this district, and if you, in fact, once you can find out some information, would you give me an update as to what's going on? He said, okay, but would you just move back? Yes, sir. So I moved back. Neither of them ever came back. They never came back. They didn't come back. We stayed there until dark, and nobody came back. And on the next morning, for some strange reason, your officers was still there at the ditch. There were some deputy cars there that morning. Of course, I didn't understand. And somewhere or another, I got your phone number from a friend of mine, and I called. Of course, I called the chief that is retiring. Can't think of his name.
Alan Crump.
No, I mean the assistant chief. That's
Bill Gooden.
Bill Gooden. And of course, it just went straight to his voicemail. And of course, on a sidebar, I talked to the mayor about it. He was very helpful, and finally had a chance to talk to you. And I said to you that once everything happened, then I wanted to be involved in the press conference. I wanted to know and whatever. Of course, we've had some sidebars, but I didn't. It's just about the whole situation. It doesn't taste right. It doesn't smell right. It's just like I would suggest if there's ever another police-involved shooting in my district, that maybe the state police or maybe the sheriff department or whoever would do the investigation, because at this point in time, I've heard about it on TV as to what the coroner had said, but even before then, you had already said to me what had happened. And so therefore, it's like I've been waiting for the communication to come as to you saying, well, Councilman, we're going to have a press conference, and this is what happened. I'd like for you to be there. I'd like to be able to watch the video. They said it's a little small video. Don't know what happened, but I would hate to be the father of that young man that don't know, and then to be able to say, well, there's a half side of a video. And so it's kind of like, what do we do in my district? And I don't know about other districts. It's time now for people to be out jogging and exercising. If they're out jogging and exercising, they running, and the police come up, do they stop? What do they do? Because this young man, from my understanding, he was out and he saw the police. I don't know what happened, but he started running. So after he starts running, from my understanding, I'm just going by my understanding, as the police start shooting or whatever, I don't know about confrontation or whatever, then my next question is, how do I tell the people they come, well, if we running, if the police come by, do we stop running, or what do we do? And then on the other hand, I'd like for the next council meeting that portion of the video be shown here. And then I just really like to know, one, is the officer that was involved in the shooting, where is he at? Is he back at work? What has happened today? Is he back at work?
He is not, but he is processing to return to work.
Okay.
There's a process involved.
Will he be back in my district again? Has he had any counseling?
That's part of the process, is to see a psychologist to determine his fit for duty status. We call it the fit for duty. He was not actually assigned to that district. He was working what we refer to as a hire back, which means it was an additional shift to make more money. That is not the general area in which he patrols, but certainly he's not going to be excluded from patrolling your district.
So that same person who, young man was doing whatever, some way or another he started running, and so you telling me that he would have another possible opportunity if he saw somebody else running to shoot them as well. I don't understand that. Here again, and I know, Chief, it doesn't taste right to me, and it possibly won't taste right to you, but one is myself. I'm just speaking of people that I know. One, they're afraid of the police. Two, they don't trust the police. And I can give you some instances. There's some people who call about drugs in their neighborhood. They're afraid to call the hotline because they say when the officers get their name and get their information, they come straight to their house. They tell the dope dealer, well, such and such called in on you. And so then they are fearing for their life. I got some living testimonies, and I'm not just talking just to be talking. So therefore, it's like myself, when I see the police, they tell me to stop. I put my hands out of the window because it just seemed that bad in my neighborhood, in this city. And so therefore, I don't know how, I mean, it's kind of like this, whatever happens to a police officer, whatever happened to a fireman, doesn't matter about how bad it is, how whatever. Once they go to the Civil Service Board, because that Civil Service Board is made up of firefighters. I love y'all. Thank y'all. Thank God for y'all for protecting and serving. But at the end of the day, it's going to be difficult for you to vote against your brothers and sisters as to giving them their job back or doing whatever. I don't know what can happen, but you just said that this person, once he's back, you can't say that he can't come in my district. You're just going to put him back out there again. So what assurance that this wouldn't happen again, and how valuable is life? It's like today is 101 days that we've been here. Out of 101 days, Chief, through my neighborhood, I'm not talking about the main street like Hollywood, 70th, and all around. Out of 101 days, I've witnessed at least 2 police officers driving through my neighborhood. And I go through my other district, ask to see who's driving through. Now, I see them on the main streets, but when they come through my street, they drive fast and get out as fast as they can. Now, I live in hood. So little 7-year-olds, 8-year-old can tell you what a dope house is. So if you're telling me that a 7-year-old can tell you where it is, why the police don't know? We got all this modern stuff and all of this stuff is going on. So why they don't know? And why when they pass houses that whatever, that they just speed up and turn and go in? I know there's a process of investigating, but it just, this situation, along with everything else, that it just doesn't taste right. I even know in the record that a former council member said something, and that particular officer that was in charge, I'm just saying it like that, came up before this body and talked about it, and that's scary. And so my question is, I know that when you came on, that a lot of things have happened. So my question is, are you really up for the task? Because even when we had you up before, you were not aware that the DA didn't even have the case. And then after that, the DA called me to say, I don't have the case. Well, it wasn't going from you to the DA, it was going from you to the coroner. And of course, we were talking about the DA when it hadn't even got to the coroner at that particular time. And so therefore, I don't understand, and it just doesn't taste right, Chief. And it just, I mean, I've been wrestling with it, and I've been thinking that maybe yesterday, the day before yesterday, that you would call to say, hey, Councilman, this is what's going on and whatever. I know we got a text to say that the coroner is going to make their announcement. And so, therefore, this body up here, you know, we're supposed to know so that we can inform our people. Like I said, the mayor has been genuine. He's been helpful to say, well, Councilman, have you met your CLO officer? No, sir. He said, well, I'm going to make that happen. And I guess he called them, but they still hadn't called me. So I don't know. But this just doesn't, it doesn't taste right. It just doesn't smell right.
Yes, sir.
And if I sound frustrated, if I sound however, that's how I am. So you don't even have, I don't know if you can respond to it. No, but whatever you want to say is up to you. But as me, as the representative of that district, there are people that we all, this city, whether you know it or not, and it's like we got poison water, but we got roses around it. This city's on a powder keg. This incident right today is on a powder keg. There are people that's just waiting, and when they don't hear anything, when there's no communication, that just makes it worse. So I know I've said a lot and put a lot on your plate, but that's just the rough truth, rough talk. And like I said on yesterday, this particular incident that 6 or 7 people came to the house, this young man was able to live and talk about it. This young man started running, from my understanding, and the officer started shooting.
That's not accurate,
I don't
Councilman.
know.
Not accurate.
I wasn't there, and of course, I don't know if you were there. But
I was
if
not
we don't
there,
have-
but I've watched video.
May I
read-
finish?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So my question is this: they said it wasn't a video. Then they said it was a piece of video. So I don't know what it was. I know I wasn't there, so I can't say this ain't what happened. I don't know if you was there, but today you can verify if you were there.
I was not.
And so therefore, but go on and say what you were going to say.
Councilman, if I can interject, please. Actually, I had a meeting with Chief Raymond this morning about this same issue. We are in the process, we being the city, are in the process of responding to public records requests that have been made pursuant to this case, and we are making sure that we have all the information. Once those documents and discs are all collected, we will be in a better position to have that conversation with you.
Okay. I abide by the law.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Like I said, I abide by the law.
Yes, sir.
Has nothing to do with rights and rights, so you'd understand. I'm from the country. I'm from Belgium. My granddaddy raised me to say, boy, when you go to that city, 2 people to be afraid of, that's the police and white women. And from that day to this one, that's who I'm afraid of. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, can I comment? Can I make a comment to Councilman Green? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see the long line.
If it's on this subject, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's on this subject. Councilman Green, like you already pointed out on the record, I've been in constant communication with you about that particular incident and just about your district all the time. Very concerned council member for your district and always represent them well. Always have the best interests of them in mind, and we talk often about that. And I communicate often your concerns as far as public safety with the police chief and with the fire chief, and policy changes are like quick and easy for us. We can put things on paper, and but cultural changes takes us a little bit of time. And apart from the details on this particular case, I just want to reiterate to you and all council members that I've committed to community-oriented policing. And getting after the story, what you said about police officers driving fast through your neighborhood, that's not what I have encouraged our police officers to do on the record. When I'm talking to them, when we're walking down the street, it's not what I've encouraged the police chief, and I've heard him on the record encourage them to get out of their vehicles, to get to know the communities that they're policing. So, I wish we could change these things overnight, but I just want you to know that we're committed to changing the culture of the police department to make sure that they're getting out and knowing every single community in Shreveport that these officers are patrolling.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I got, on the same subject, I got Councilman Nicholson and then Councilman Butcher.
Mr. Chairman, I'll say first that I very much appreciate the efforts of our interim police chief and of the mayor to address the city's crime problem. We all know, as Councilman Green has discussed, that we can do better in fighting crime, especially in some of our poor neighborhoods. Councilman Butcher and I, over the past several weeks, have had numerous discussions about the possibility of providing all duty officers body cameras. I understand that you, Mr. Mayor, and your administration are supportive of that, and I would suggest that this type of incident is a very good example of why we should make that investment as soon as we can. With body cameras, we don't have to have a debate without all the information about what happened. We can pull up the footage and see what the officer saw before he took the action that he did. And so I will say for the record that I am hopeful that we will find the money in the city budget for that and in the police department's budget as soon as possible, because I want I want to avoid any ambiguity or uncertainty that can be avoided through the use of that technology. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Nicholson. Councilman Butch.
I was going to speak on that as well. I think Mr. Hanson, from what I understand, is working on some ways to get funding for this, which is what I would like to see. I also want to speak on, I know that body cams are not the solve-all for the problem that Reverend Green, Councilman Green, spoke about. It's going to take a lot more than just that. I live in an area that unfortunately, I never see a police officer. I think I can count on my hands once or twice this year that I've seen a Shreveport police officer south of Flournoy Lucas Road. And that's a problem for me, and I think the chief and I have discussed it. I really would like to see the police department work with the sheriff's department in some way to come up with some kind of automatic aid. The chief and I spoke. I ended up calling the police a couple of weeks ago, and it took 22 minutes to get an officer out to my house for shots fired. That's unacceptable. And so I just, Councilman Green was talking about the roses and the powder keg. It's everywhere. It's not just isolated. We've got true issues, and I have faith that the chief is working to correct these. But on the other hand, I also think that we need an open line of communication. Since Councilman Nicholson and I started talking about these body cams, I've not had one conversation with the chief about it. And we really want to help the police department, but we need to know what's going on, what you need, where you want to be. Because there are issues. Just because it's in the inner city doesn't mean that the people outside, a little bit further out. I think there was a shooting in Councilman Fleury's district. So I would like to know when something in my district goes on, because I know that the mayor gets notified when there's a shooting. I would like to know, because I would like to come out and see for myself what's going on. If there's some type of major incident like that, I may not be able to come every time, but I do want to be there to at least offer our constituents, just let them know that we're there. So I think there may be a little bit of a breakdown between the council and the police, and I hope that we can rectify that, Mayor. I think that you're working hard. I think every time I've ever called you about a police issue, you've been right on it. So I agree with Councilman Green on that. I just think that there may be a breakdown between the council and the police department. I know my CLO because I've known her prior to this, but there's been no effort to reach out to me by the CLO. So, thank you.
All right. Councilman Bradford.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. And my remarks, I have two sets of remarks. I'm going to say what I want to say now, then I'm going to come back. But I want to say that I am too very disturbed about this situation regarding the officer involved shooting. I'm a lifelong member of the NAACP, and I guess I made my reputation in a way in Shreveport, especially in the African American community, by being an activist. About 15 years ago, there was a shooting regarding Marquise Husmith, and I'm using it as a reference. We are being really assaulted on social media regarding this incident. Now, we, as African American council members, we get a little bit more scrutiny in speaking out on this in these type of issues. Because if I wasn't on the city council, by now I would have organized a rally to protest what had happened. The reason that this thing I don't mean to say thing, I'm sorry. The reason this incident is really blowing up, and Councilman Green used the term powder keg. And this is not really racially motivated in a sense, but it's motivated on history. When the word hit the street that a young man was running, shot himself in the chest, then was shot 3 more times. But the coroner ruled that the shooting in the chest inflicted the deadly wound. And then the DA says, I cannot investigate it because it's a suicide. The word cover-up is perpetrating through the Shreveport black community. The word cover-up. Because people are saying, wait a minute, if I'm running and I shoot myself in the chest, I don't fall immediately to the ground? That I'm still a suspect in the fact that I'm going to be shot 3 more times while I'm running? And then the DA said, I can't investigate this? Now, there is some plans, and I hope we can get in front of it, of plans of some degree of protest. And I'm not even talking about it. And I appreciate the city attorney saying that we're gonna issue a statement. I think that's going to be important, because incidents like this have a way of creating their own legs, and we don't really, we want to avoid that as much as we can. But at the same time, it's very disturbing, very disturbing. That's my first point. My second point is the fact that there is a spike in crime. There were several shootings over the weekend. In 2017, this council, the previous council, passed a resolution requesting that the Kettle Parish Sheriff Department would create a joint operation in patrolling the city of Shreveport to deter some of this criminal activity. I think we need to revisit that, Mayor. The Parish Commission at the time committed to funding it, the joint operation. They said they would obligate up to $100,000 for our operation. We met with Sheriff Prater, the previous mayor, previous police chief. Sheriff Prater said, I can reposition some of my deputies to assist. And his idea was, and his proposal was, that I can patrol the parameters of the city where they connect with the parish. And it sounded like a sound plan, but the previous mayor and the previous police chief rejected that plan. I think we need to revisit that. If we can get help with summer coming on to help deter and to help deter anything, that we need to do that. Sunday afternoon, I was called by Councilman Flory and said, have you heard? I said, I hadn't heard about the shooting at the trailer park. That's on the parameters of the parish in the city. I thought that would be a good location to create this joint patrolling operation if we had to do that. So I'm just saying, in that sense, whereas we have what I consider incidences that create suspicion, but we also have to be proactive in looking at ways that we can keep our citizens safer. And if we can get assistance from anybody, I don't think we need to reject that assistance. So it's one of those resolutions that Councilman Flory brought up yesterday, where we passed a resolution and nothing is done about it. So if it takes a new resolution to ask you, Mayor, to engage the Kettle Parish Sheriff into helping and assisting and patrolling. That's the only aspect that I think we need to address at this time. Because I just believe that Councilman Butcher's house hardly ever see patrolling. I just believe that we saw patrolling. We saw with a sheriff vehicle or a Shreveport police vehicle coming through your neighborhood that will at least give people comfort on one hand, and it will deter the criminal element on the other hand. So I think it's a good thing to do. Until we can get to the point that we can operate independently. So disturbed on one hand, encouraged on the other hand that we can do something proactive to help protect our city as the summer months come on. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, real quick on this idea that Councilman Bradford has on the Sheriff's Department helping. That kind of goes back to the mutual aid deal. There are several areas in my district that are on a borderline. There may be a house next door to one that's outside the city, one that's inside the city. I think that, constantly there are deputies. We see them all the time. If there's a major incident that happens in Southern Trace and we're waiting on an officer to come from Kings and Line Avenue, which is a possibility from what I've been told, you could have a deputy sheriff sitting in the parking lot of the CVS or the P&S Pantry at Southern Loop and Ellerby Road or North Ferry Road writing a report. He wouldn't even know that my house is being broken into or that my daughter's home alone. We've got to start working together with other agencies. I was told the other day at that shooting that the sheriff's office was there before the police department was, which it wouldn't. That's not out of the norm because the sheriff's office patrols. They have several deputies out there. So I just think that it's an easy fix. And I approached Commissioner Chavez because he's the one that brought it forward, I believe. If that's you were the chairman, weren't you, Mr. Fleury? Mr. Chavez, Commissioner Chavez said that money was still available if we were interested in looking at doing it. And I had some conversations and decided not to put it on the agenda for the Public Safety Committee meeting. But if there's interest in doing it again, and I think we need to do it sooner than later. We don't need to discuss it. I think there actually was a District 14 or whatever it is that was already created out on the outskirts of town. And I think we need to move to do that to help get some more officers inside the city, to help closer inside the city, to help saturate. So I'm 100% behind Councilman Bradford.
Councilman Nicholson, do you have any comments? I wanted to address them all at the end.
Mr. Mayor, please.
Councilman Nicholson, you brought up body cameras, 100% in support of that. I think we should go further with body cameras once we realize how many we can actually afford to purchase. I think we should put in policies as well with our body cameras to ensure that before an officer goes out, that body camera has to be on, and there are reporting mechanisms when it would go off, et cetera. And there's a bunch of different case studies that we can look at in other cities and their policies to ensure that if officers are wearing body cameras are operable. But again, that's going to be dictated by how much money we can find to address that and purchase those. The second thing, just with council members and coordination whenever an event happens in your particular district, that's too easy to do. We can do that going forward. Councilman Green and I were just talking about how many conversations we've had when incidents happen. I talked to Councilman Fleury this weekend after the shooting that occurred in his district. Going forward, if council members want to be on the email updates, if something was to happen in your district, we can absolutely do that. And going beyond that, once again, I think that our community liaison officers should be talking to the council members that are over their particular districts. I think there should be a relationship there, and it kind of alleviates the police chief as well, because you don't always have to go to him. You have multiple numbers you can call with the community liaisons in your neighborhood. So I'm in full support of working with you all on that. And the last part about collaboration that Councilman Bradford put forth, I am 100% open to that, not just having a meeting with the parish commission and seeing how they can support us with personnel and potential funding, but also I think we should bring in the state troopers. We should bring in federal agencies as well. We already do joint operations every couple of months, so to see how far they can stretch their resources to help us in our community. I have no public safety is the number one concern for me. It was something that I ran on, and it keeps me up at night, if anything, about this job. So if we can make our community safer by collaborating with other agencies, then I say we do it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Unless any other member has, Councilman?
Yeah, Mr. Thompson, is there anything in the charter that prohibit us, council members, from having a police scanner?
I don't think the charter addresses.
Me too.
So my question is, Mr. Mayor, if y'all have any, if you have at least 7 scanners that y'all not using, if it's not prohibited that we can have them, I'd like to have one so I would be able to keep up with what's going on.
Councilman, we'll look into that, and honestly, just the most efficient way to notify you if something is going on in your neighborhood, because it's, unfortunately, things like this weekend when there are major incidents, like when 20+ rounds are fired into a home when juveniles are present, like that's something that rises up to the public's attention. But I get way more notifications about that, robberies, you name it. So again, we can come up with the most efficient way to notify you when things like that are going on within your district.
Well, I mean, I already know I can hear every night shooting in mine. I just want to know what's going on there. I'm good. I just want to know about the rest of them. I'm good.
Well, Caddo 911 has a sign on that you can actually sign on and read the events and see exactly what's happening. Board members used to have access to that, but I think they cut it off. That might be something that
I want to scan. Mr. Chairman, can you make that happen?
Gotcha. All right, Councilman.
I have 2 announcements I want to make. On Friday, the 12th, the Shreveport Police Department will be conducting at Booker T. Washington High School a very positive operation. It's called Operation Safe Prom. I don't know if anybody ever attended one of those. It demonstrates to the students what to avoid on prom night. It's going to be at 9:30 at Booker T. Washington High School. Those that are willing and available, come by and witness this great event.
What date?
The 12th, 9:30 at Booker T. Washington. And then on the next 2 Tuesdays after today, on the 16th, there's going to be a grassroots walk organized by our community policing bureau. Chief, has that location been decided?
I'll check emails and council will get back to you.
Okay, send that back out to us. And then on Tuesday, the 23rd of April, at Lakeside Community Center, my district, community-oriented policing would also be conducting a operation called Party with a Purpose. It's going to be a community meeting. I'm inviting all of my district, but I'm also inviting you, if you will, to have your people come over. We're going to have a discussion about the criminal element, how we can report crime, how we can organize watch groups, and just do a totality of information, question and answers on how can I make my neighborhood safer. We had this discussion with our MPC group. They're going to work with us to organize and create more neighborhood associations. And I think neighborhood associations is the key to us becoming more vigilant in protecting our neighborhood. So put on your calendars, if you will, and I'll email these out to you as well. The 16th and the 23rd, especially on the 23rd and on the 12th next on Friday, Operation Prom Night would be. Operation Safe Prom. That's the name of it. Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Nichols.
Councilman Butcher. I'm sorry, if I'm on the board, I don't have any further to say.
Okay. Councilman Butcher.
Just real quick, I got a text from the family of Mr. Ralph Ballantyne. Visitation is Friday, April the 12th, 4 to 7 at Airline Baptist Church in Bossier City. Services will be Saturday, April the 13th at 1 p.m. at Airline Baptist Church. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right. Councilman Green.
Yes, Pastor Stan Lewis' graveside will be at the Veterans Cemetery on Thursday at 11.
All right, thank you, Councilman Green. At this particular time, we have a public comment.
Mr. Sammy Mears.
Sammy Mears, 1901 Centenary Boulevard, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71101. Tomorrow will be the last soup lunch day at Church of the Holy Cross with dessert, ice water, and coffee from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. $5 is the price at the door, so please come if you can and would. It's your last chance. I'd like to see everybody come, and it's really, they want to meet everybody. Okay. And last Monday, I heard that Jason's Deli was reopening at 10 a.m., so I went to get a bite to eat over there and met up with Nate Fluharty from Channel 3, and I was televised on the camera and then interviewed. Later that evening, I was watching it 6, 7, and 8 3 times on television and saw myself on TV and kicked my arms and legs laughing at the television. And the reason is it was hilarious. Hilarious. The very next day, I took a thank you card to Channel 3 to give to Skip Cordes and met weatherman Neil Shaw for the first time, who I conversed with. Hilarious, isn't it? It is. And then, as of today, I got the real shock of my moment. I'm at the library, and you're going to love this, because Grayson, I told you earlier, and I told James Green earlier. Now the rest is going to find out. I was at the library. I was just getting ready to put up a newspaper, and our Mayor Perkins happened to be there, and you didn't share this earlier, but I'm doing it now since I've got the mouth for it. As soon as I heard a lot of loud talking going on, I said, okay, what's going on? I go over, we see each other. He says, Sammy. I said, what? I was in the shock of my life as if I was just meeting Jim Cramer from Mad Money. Oh, how I wish Jim Cramer would have been there. We, of course, gave each other a hug, and we got a picture that's going to be on Facebook, from what I understand. This was the most happiest day of my life. Wow. And it's one I won't forget. It'll even be more shocking if you come tomorrow at Church of the Holy Cross for the soup lunch and we get together for lunch. If you dare. Do you dare?
I dare, sir.
I thought so. I will see you there. Hey, good rhyme.
Did you give him your autograph?
I'm not that desperate.
We just hugged each other.
I'll wait till I beat Jim Cramer.
I got you.
Thank you, Mr. Mears. Lauren Ray Anderson.
Sammy, you never took a picture with me. Sammy, you never took a picture with me.
You want to get it done after the meeting? That's why I don't have the executive. We'll do it next time.
Ms. Anderson.
Hello, Lauren Anderson, 247 East Lister Street, Shreveport, 71101. There's been a lot going on over the past couple weeks. I didn't really feel like talking about anything, but there were some comments made at yesterday's meeting that made me want to say a few things, specifically about downtown. Councilman Bradford and Councilman Fleury were discussing the activity downtown. I think they alluded to the idea that Under the Bridge is dead. There's nothing going on. You can't see a sports game, which is completely inaccurate. And Councilman Bradford made the comment that there aren't any blue-collar places downtown. I'm not really sure what that means. I don't know if it was a joke or what, but the first place that came to mind was Noble Savage Tavern. It's a place where people of all sorts, backgrounds, demographics, ages, colors, ethnicities, all get together at the same place and have a great time. And that pretty much describes all of downtown, including Under the Bridge. fully stacked. I watched the World Cup. Fatty Arbuckles is where I watch the Saints games. If Lavette was here yesterday, she could have talked about Fatty Arbuckles. She would come there to take a break from campaigning in the fall during the Saints games. There's a coffee bar down there. There's Nikki's under the bridge. They need to put a warning label on their margaritas because there should only be one allowed. They're very, very strong. There's also Proud Mary's. I'm not sure what's going on with that. I heard they were locked up in litigation, so they're not open. And then there's also Sportsman's Paradise, which is in the El Dorado, where they have televisions at the tables, so you can watch basically anything you want. And also last year, I believe Robinson Film Center, which is also downtown, down the street from Noble Savage, they did a whole month of free movies. So that brought in all sorts of people from all over the city. Once again, brought a whole bunch of people from the city together. And last week was Art Walk, which is a free event, free food, free entertainment, free drinks. And once again, it brings everybody together. So y'all saying that there's nothing going on down there or that it's only one sort of person or one type of people is just completely inaccurate. I encourage you to get out, come join us sometime if you can handle us bohemian artsy types who are a little bit more progressive and friendly. And then given the fact that y'all want to maybe critique another district, it begs the question, what are you doing in your district? What's going on in your district? How are you promoting community, people getting together, entertainment? Basically, us all getting along as one unified city.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson.
Thank you.
Mr. Freddie Ishola.
My name's Freddie Ishola. I would prefer not to give my address as I've been receiving death threats. So yesterday, after the city council meeting, I went home and prepared what I wanted to speak to you all about. And then this morning, I deleted it because I want to speak to you all from a position of passion and my feelings. For the last year, I have been arrested 4 times in Shreveport for protesting and speaking out against racist, classist, elitists, and bigots, including Sheriff Prater, who I believe to be all of those things. I just finished 9 months in Cattle Correctional Center, where I was abused, beaten, tortured, and held in isolation. Daily I suffered these grievances. I was beaten for speaking out and speaking towards violations of my constitutional rights. My challenge to this council, I spoke at one of these city council meetings roughly 10 months ago. I was removed for speaking out against the mayor who had me arrested for jaywalking. And I had to go to jail for 40 days where I was again abused, beaten, and tortured. I'm begging this council to do something about what's taking place at Cattle Correctional Center. I've done everything in my power to try and speak out against the abuses of that place, and nothing's being done. Councilman Green, Councilman Bradford, you both spoke to the fact that there's a powder keg in the communities. What I'm telling you is there's also a powder keg at Cattle Correctional Center. Those inmates do not view the police as a deterrent. They look at them as a nuisance. I had the opportunity to interact with some of the most reviled individuals of the city. Kingpins when it comes to drug dealing, kingpins when it comes to murder, kingpins when it comes to killing and raping and pillaging in the city. And these type of individuals are not getting the rehabilitation that was supposed to be promised when it came to the prison system. I was always told that the prison system was a form of rehabilitation and reformation. Nothing of the sort is taking place at Cattle Correctional Center. It is a place where men go to have their lives wasted and sit in a 5x7 cell and have their lives deprived from them. I had to get pepper sprayed in order to get books to read. I had to get pepper sprayed in order to get food, right? There was an implementation that took place at the beginning of the year where they reduced the portions of the inmates. I spoke out against that. I was beaten. I was pepper sprayed. I was taken back to medical where I was beaten up by the police right? When you speak about the fact that African Americans are not to trust the police and white women, those are both of the reasons I ended up in jail in the first place, right? I made the mistake of falling in love with a white woman in Shreveport, Louisiana, because her parents have a tremendous amount of influence in this city. I was held without bail or bond for 3 months in Cattle Correctional Center for a misdemeanor charge. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Kevin Smith.
Kevin Smith, 5992 Canada Court, Shreveport, Louisiana. I didn't realize we were going to be here till 9 o'clock. But anyway, I'm here to speak about, it's a lot that's going on in the city of Shreveport, but I'm here to address the mayor, which I spoke to the last mayor and the mayor before that to address the issue that's been going on in the city of Shreveport that actually been kind of waving around. Basically, I've been doing work. I've been doing business with the city of Shreveport for about 7 years, buying a lot of adjudicated properties in Queensburg, Cooper Road, Allendale, or whatever. I actually just opened up a new facility right here on the corner of Missouri and Jackson. It's an event building. The problem that I'm having when I purchase these adjudicated properties, there are one individual company which is called the Harville Group, which is Cypress Realty over in Bossier City. Maybe the mayor don't know about it, but what's happening is these people will take these properties, pay the taxes one time, and they rent these properties out to low-income people. They have a list, which I acquired the list from over there. They have something that they have some that they have for sale, and some that they rent out. Now, you may, I run into them several times because this is one of the lists that they have properties that they probably don't. I went on it. 90% of these properties are adjudicated, which the city of Shreveport don't know. If the property is adjudicated, it's your money. These people are renting properties to the low-income people and taking money from the city of Shreveport. So what's happening is that's why when you go in Queensburg, Cooper Road, Allendale, Lakeside, different areas, and you see these abandoned houses, and you'd have passed around and seen these signs, 222-4000 for rent, for rent, for rent on the corner. Those properties, majority of them are adjudicated to the city of Shreveport. These people paid the property taxes one time. I actually went to court with them. I purchased the property, went to Jimmy to Whittington, purchased the property, did everything I do, everything that I'm supposed to do legally. What they do, everything is illegal. Why? Because the slap of the wrist, because one of the attorney that they know is a big attorney. So basically, it's kind of been pushed under the carpet, under the rug. Majority of the properties that you see that are abandoned are raggedy, and the majority of the minority community, these people own it. If you pass through anyone, Bradford or Mr. Green, y'all pass through any one of your communities, which and pass by, you'll see a sign say for rent. And these properties are adjudicated to the city. I have purchased several of them. So what I'm bringing to the councilman, how about we put some check and balance? If a property is adjudicated, you can't get a permit or a water meter. Therefore, these people that have been robbing the city, not paying taxes, when I pay taxes, my taxes is $12,000 a year. When these people pay nothing and they rent these properties out, which they actually steal it from, you know what ends up happening? The city is left with a burden of tearing down the demolition of a raggedy house. That's why when you go through...
Mr. Smith, I would be, your time's expired, but I'd be pleased for you to submit in writing as much information as you're willing to submit concerning what you're describing. This is concerning to me. I'd like to know the name of the attorney that you're suggesting is facilitating this theft from the city, and if you'd like to provide that in writing to the clerk of council, I'd be happy to receive that information.
I tell you what, also,
what's your name?
It's on the slip.
Yeah.
You're 100% right, and I'm going to stand with you on that. You are correct. I brought that up in the last property standards meeting, and we're working on some things now to correct that wrong that's been going on. I agree with you 100%.
Thank you.
And we did discuss that, and we're having some kind of legislation drawn up or moving in the right direction to fix that wrong and make it a right.
Okay.
You're right. No, you're 100% right.
Also, in that, the judges over at the city don't have a clue of what's going on. I've been paying taxes for 3 years on a property. I go over to cut the grass.
Mr. Smith, the clerk, the vice chair have called your time expired, but I have your information.
Yes, sir.
And I want to meet with you, Councilman
Sure.
Green also. So we'll be contacting you within the next couple of days. We want to sit down because I think your information is very enlightening. Just because we got elected council doesn't mean we know everything about what's going on in the city. So we want to use your experience and background to find out what it is that we need to do to remedy some of these issues that you brought forward.
I've been dealing with it for since 2015.
You'll be hearing from me.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Smith, I just want to second what Councilman Bradford said. Please be in touch with my office. I've been in the office for 101 days right now, so I don't know all this going on. I've heard about inefficiencies with our adjudicated properties, but not quite to this extent. So I'll be working with the council members as well to try to get this fixed as quickly as
Yes,
possible.
sir. And I'll sit down and we'll discuss, and I'll let you know what I've been dealing with and pretty much everybody out here.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Kenneth Kraft. Mr. Kraft, are you present?
No.
He left. Oh, it was by electronic.
Kenneth Kraft just wanted to speak, want the city council members to speak on the infrastructure citizens general obligation bond and charter review. That was pretty much what he wanted.
Reverend Linus Mays.
Pastor Mays, 10398 Bonkham Road, longtime advocate of coming before this council. Congratulations to the new mayor. Hadn't addressed the new council members, but as Councilman Green said, and some of the other council members, Councilman Bradford, that what's been going on in this city, it was proposed even when the shooting of Marquise Husby took place for body cams. And Mayor, I'm one of those guys that just believe in one of those pastors that have been coming here for decades. And we asked for a citizens review panel. We made it known to the other council members before this council that, and some that are on the council now, that putting body cams is not going to solve the problem. Because what it's going to do is that whether it's on social media, it can be happening right there in front of you. The police officers have this mechanism to where they're going to protect their own. And what we got to do, we got to get somebody, a mayor or somebody with courage on the council that's going to say, hey, the things that we need to do in the city of Shreveport to make the city more safer is that start holding, and I'm going to say this again, start holding these officers accountable. It's as simple as that. Because if you can kill somebody in the city of Shreveport and you can continue to get away with it, one officer told me this years ago. He said, Pastor Mays, yes you all asked for a citizens review board. He said, but you know what, that stuff will never happen in the city of Shreveport. I said, well, why? When we are supposed to be created equal. He said, it would never happen because of the lack of courage and commitment. He said, that stuff would never happen. He said, we're going to continue to police ourselves. We're going to continue to have the internal affairs. We're going to do our own investigations. This thing that happened to this young man, this is a human being, first of all, a person. That life was lost. The department have someone to cover them. The individuals have no one. And I ain't talking about, I'm talking about far back as Hazel Beard days. This stuff has been going forward back as George Dartar and Lehman Brown. It's a stigma in this city that you can get away with murder because you are because you're a police officer. You can get away with anything in this city. But if you kill a police officer, which we don't advise that, and I guarantee you, Grover Cannon, he's either going to get the death penalty or he's going to get life in prison. You got to quote on that. He's going to get justice for the police officers. But the bottom line is, unless somebody can recognize the real problem, the root of the problem is is that there's no accountability. And these officers, retired police officers, they said, Bishop, Pastor, you've been calling for years and years, and they're going to continue to get away with it. And this guy's retired now, and I'm back down here again. And so all the councils done passed, and we still here talking about the same thing. Body cams are not going to work. Ask Jeff Everson.
Thank you.
They kicked that down. None of it going to work.
Yes, sir.
Until we do the right thing. Give them some time, Councilman Green, and I guarantee you it'll stop.
Craig Lee.
Craig Lee, 1112 Prospect Street. First off, Councilman Green, I'm glad that you brought this up about Anthony Childs. I've been working with the family, and Councilman Bradford, you're right. I'm advising them now to pursue legal issues against the City of Shreveport Police Department. Anthony Childs was murdered by a psychotic police officer, and for the life of me, I don't understand how people believe that just because you put on a uniform, I don't care whether it's a police uniform, sheriff uniform, fire uniform, that if you're psychotic, that all of a sudden you are no longer psychotic while you have the uniform on. So that's already hogwash. It hasn't been discussed as to why this guy was even stopping Anthony Childs, and he had been harassing him in the past. Now, the police chief has already come down here and lied on this camera. He lied. He said at first that the DA had the case and we were waiting. Then you come back and say, oh, he don't have it. It's at the coroner's office. So now you can lie in public and now come back and now have the coroner to come up with another lie and say, oh, he killed himself. But the officer had already lied and said he shot him because he shot at him. He didn't say he shot himself. So it's a lot of lies going on as it relates to this overall situation. Then it was like no video. But now it's a video. Now we hear from the Shreveport Times they want to charge over $300 for the video. See, we got a lot of conspiracy that's going on, and at the end of the day, we talk about economic development, Mayor. No businesses are going to come to this city when you have over half the population that's in poverty, and then you have high crime, and then you have police officers running amok, killing folks. And then you have the police chief coming to this panel lying to you all, and ain't nobody checked him. Ain't nobody checked him yet. But we got him on tape, lying. So the question becomes, what is the city council going to do? Are you going to sit back and allow an officer to remain on this force, having murdered a person for no reason, because he ran, because this guy had been harassing him on multiple occasions? So he shot and murdered because he ran. And now the police chief just got through saying, this fool is going, and that's what he is, a fool, is going to go back on the police force, a psycho. If this council does not step up and handle their business, all of you should recuse yourself. I'm just being straight up and honest, because you cannot have people murdering folks who are being paid by the city, and this young brother did not deserve to lose his life.
All right, next we have Mr. Cedric Murphy. Mr. Murphy is not here, but he did want to everyone here in the council to know that he wanted to speak about it, and he will have a video on Autism Awareness Month, about autism awareness, and he just wants to share the information with everyone, and that he will be attending a Yellow Shirt Day at the Capitol on today in the committee room number 5, where the House Appropriations Committee will review the LDH's budget. He sent that in, just wanted everyone to know that he'll be with the mayor today for autism awareness. So,
Mr. Chairman, I did receive a request from Councilwoman Fuller to convey her warmest regards to Sammy Mears and to advise him that she also saw him on television and was quite excited. And at her request, I have conveyed that message, Mr. Beers.
I think her exact words, because it was a group text, was that that she kicked her dog. She was so excited that she scared the dog to death.
I can see why.
The dog was not harmed, by the way. It was an accident. It wasn't on purpose.
All right, we have a request from the city attorney to go into executive session to discuss the matters that we spoke on earlier. That we need to.
A motion to go into executive session to discuss the following lawsuits would be in order. Larry Cunningham versus City of Shreveport, docket number 5:17-CB-01056, United States District Court, and Superior Bar and Grill, Inc. versus City of Shreveport, docket number 609,975, First Judicial District Court.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman
Second.
Nicholson and second by Councilman Butcher. Please vote.
Did you vote?